7 o'clock in St. Louis, you are listening to The Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and on the TMA STL YouTube channel. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne, Jackson Burkett on the ones and twos. And if you would like to call into the program, Chairman Kurt mans the Collier and Thompson phone lines. The number 314-974-0101 to call in. The number to text in, 314-399-9646. Our text inbox is sponsored by Air Comfort Service. And for point of clarification, Jackson, you are not updating text names anymore. It was a 2-day process, and that is over, and we will wait until the first week of August.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
So you're done.
Okay.
SOL, Doug. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's a big deal to some people still?
You know, just I try to appease everybody, but you can't make everyone happy.
No, you sure
And
cannot.
some names are
task.
rejected because they're vile, and some because they're just not funny.
Not funny, just
FCC violations, Martin?
there's that, and there's also just some that's
If it's too dorky, you say, get out of here.
just like kind of lame, kind of low-hanging fruit.
Lame.
You know, like let's be better.
A Jay Leno monologue.
Essentially, yeah, a Jay Leno monologue.
He's a joke writer's joke writer. Well, all the comedians say he's the best joke writer.
Maybe not the person to deliver the material. I am looking forward to talking with Joe Buck at 9 o'clock. He's going to be on the program. Doug, that's on your Stiefel dossier. And hearing about the Cardinal reunion last night with Tony La Russa and the 2000 through 2011 teams and players and all that was taking place at Stiefel Theater. Martin, what you were there?
Yeah, it was a really fun event. I think what stood out was, first of all, the players were sitting in the crowd. So a certain panel would be up there with Edmonds and Freeze, and then you would just see Will Clark walking down the aisle sitting in a seat, and there's Skip Schumacher over there. Oh, there's Scott Spezia. They were just like all over the place.
Kind of like the Oscars or the
Yeah, that's a good point. They would be in the crowd, and then when they'd call them up, I think, and Joe will probably touch on this, it's La Russa's event. He makes out the lineup like he always did, and somebody made a joke about batting the pitcher 8th, and Eckstein said, yeah, one of those times I hit 9th. So they would kind of dig each other back and forth. But Joe was the perfect person to try and kind of corral Tony with, there was a lot going on, and sometimes it got a little confusing. And Joe would say to Tony, sit down, you're making me nervous. And he was wandering around the stage, where's Freeze at? Where's Freeze? And Joe's like, we'll get to him. And I think only Joe would appreciate this. But as they're introducing each player, they have a video clip up on the screen. The music choices, and I guarantee Joe was thinking this. They played Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Then they did Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. It felt like La Russa's 8-track. And one time it was all Edmonds clips, and they're playing Purple Haze. And Joe's like, Jimmy was often in a Purple Haze, and he would just kind of wing it. But it was great entertainment, and, maybe a tick long, but just there were so many people involved just sitting in the audience that were former players. And, the focus was the Darryl Kyle era, and you had Mike Matheny telling stories. Rick Ankiel was back, and Will Clark, and then you got the finish was with David Freeze in 2011. But sitting next to each other was Edmonds and Freeze.
Wow.
And if you think about those two Cardinal significance players and their impact, and the fact they were traded for each other is what's hilarious and just bizarre. And Freeze told the story. He said, I'm a St. Louis kid. And he said, I hated Will Clark because the Cardinals hated Will Clark. And he said, when he got here, I was in high school. He said, I tried to bat left-handed because I just thought, okay, this would be cool. I want to be Will Clark. And he said, I get traded to the Cardinals. He said, I was so stoked. And they told me I was traded for Edmonds. He goes, I was so disappointed because he wanted to be teammates. And he's a guy you just don't hear from very often. He's living in Austin, Texas. Talked to him a little bit before on the TV side. And I do think Joe called him the reluctant hero. I think he's still a little like, hey, it was unbelievable, but just I think he feels like the adulation still. He got the red jacket and then turned it down. I think he's a little uncomfortable with all of that attention towards him. But there were some great clips, obviously. And the other part with Joe is it's amazing how many big Cardinal moments the last 20, 30 years. He was on the call for Fox. So the McGuire home run. The 06 World Series, but the Freeze home run that Joe, so when they go to the clips, Joe's like, all right, here's me again. But it was great fun, and clearly they enjoy just kind of getting the band back together.
So what did they do? I mean, like, how long have they been in town? I would imagine they hung out,
I think
whatever, had dinner.
Tuesday night, the majority of them were together. But yeah, like Reggie Sanders was on the stage. He was part of that 04, 05. And they all said the same thing we've said. The 04 team was the best team. That lineup. I think they all hung out Tuesday night, told old war stories. Matt Morris was there. Izzy was there. A lot of friends of the show, our local buddies. Alan Bennis, talking to him. Little TMA talk with Alan Bennis.
Oh, really?
He was my manager at Cardinal Fantasy Camp in 2019, Doug, and really not pleased with my performance. Well, they put me in center field, and I didn't want to get injured. His golf season was underway in Jupiter, Florida, and he was calling out my effort from the bench.
How are you going to get hurt in center field?
Well, if I were to just run hard, which wasn't something I was interested in doing, Martin, and
So why were you there?
The Cardinals, for the purpose of social media entertainment, said, hey, would you like to do this? And I think they asked about you doing it, if I'm not mistaken, too, having some TMA guys go down there. And so I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I go down there anyway and spend time down there during the winter with my family. So that'd be awesome. Be happy to do it. And I was on Alan Bennis's team. And, these fantasy games during Cardinal Fantasy Camp are intense, so much so that Alan excused himself to use the restroom during one of the innings.
Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs.
And I was a reluctant participant in the sense that I did not want to get injured with golf being in Jupiter, Florida in February at that point. And when I was put in center field, I bitched about it because that's the kind of teammate I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then a ball was hit to me, and shockingly, I made a catch, and I came back from using the restroom, and I said, well, you missed out on one hell of a play. I looked like Edmonds out there making the catch. And he goes, I bet you did. Next inning, I believe it was Bernard Gilkey on the opposing team, might have been Isringhausen, hits a ball. I come in for it. It goes about 40 feet over my head and rolls to the batter's eye in center field. And my manager screams, "Where were you on that one, Jimmy Ballgame?" And it just it created a lot of tension in the clubhouse, and Alan and I are candidly incredibly sideways over that.
There's nothing worse than a comfortable media person.
What was that? I was enjoying Lance Lynn.
So I think my earpiece is now. I said maybe it wasn't your performance, but your ability.
I think you combine performance, ability, effort, problematic in the clubhouse, demanding to hit cleanup. I think these are the things that I expected when I got the opportunity.
And you got to hit cleanup? Did you get the ball out of the infield ever?
Oh, gee.
I had a game-winning RBI when a chiropractor from Collinsville misplayed a double play attempt, and I beat it out.
Okay, that counts.
How pissed, though, do you think Alan Craig is?
I don't know what that's about, but I enjoy hearing it. There's the Plowhawk. And I think Gabby Carter, too. It's got a wonderful
real montage.
It is a nice montage. What did Alan Bennis have to say about the program? Big fan? Does he text in as Harrison's brother master?
He didn't out himself as a texter. Just said, hey, I listen to you guys every morning, a little TMA. So just a little friendly banter, I would say. But it's a great crowd, fun stories. And I think it also reminds you just that stretch, how many great players. Somebody mentioned, well, then we added Larry Walker. You just kind of keep thinking about a Hall of Fame player, former MVP, just added into the mix. And I think it kind of calls to mind that the current model is not as exciting, not as star-driven.
Matter of opinion.
Thank you, Doug.
And I think the fans that were there are thinking, yeah, this would be kind of fun to be in October again, but also to have a legitimate chance to win and winning divisions and having a robust lineup. I think that was sort of like unspoken almost.
It was not only incredible from the talent standpoint, but as I would imagine you saw last night, and those in attendance saw last night, also colorful in the sense of the personalities. And that isn't because now they can say whatever they want and don't have to worry about ramifications. That truly was the way that it was. All three of us were in those clubhouses, and there were some entertaining characters in there. And when it's led by Tony La Russa, all it does is add to it.
Yeah, God bless Tony, though, for putting something like that together. At age 80,
Yeah.
he's made all kinds of money. He's at an age where most would be content to sit and enjoy their retirement, maybe hit the golf course, hit the beach, go out to dinner every night, just kind of laid back. And he's still just working every day to put things like that together. Such a Cardinal fan. Maybe he's a bigger Cardinal fan than any of us.
And he's so hands-on. He's just, where those tickets at? Hey, put those over there. Like, he's just like let somebody else do some of that so you don't have to. But he loves. I said to Joe before the event, this is kind of Tony doing the lineup again. He goes, he's called me like 10 times changing the lineup. I said, of course, scribbling on a napkin, probably at the hotel. Yeah, man, you go freeze last. Like, you could just hear him thinking about moving everybody around. But it was great fun. I was in the lobby early, and I see this guy stopped. I'm like, who is that? God, he looks familiar. And they're saying, sir, did you have a ticket? Did you have a pass? He goes, I'm here with Tony. Sir, did you have a ticket? I said, just let him go. That's Dave Stewart. And I'm like, he was always a fiery guy, and this lady was kind of jamming him up. And I'm like, you might want to let him go through.
Dave Stewart, the pitcher?
Former A's, yes.
The hell is he
Not
doing
the
there?
billionaire St. Louis businessman.
Not the Worldwide Technology Dave Stewart, but the former Oakland A, just terrific pitcher on those teams. And then they were, remember, Tony and Stewart were the Diamondbacks, like front office for a minute. He was just there, hanging out, I guess, behind the stage. I went by and I said, is that Ron Wolf, the former Packers GM and Hall of Famer? And it was. I talked to him a little bit. About
Always down at Jupiter, hanging around the Cardinal complex, along with Bobby Knight.
Which made sense in Jupiter.
Since they lived there.
But I'm like, the whole, and I think Strauss coined it, FOT, Friends of Tony. Ron Wolf's just there, and it just flew in, I guess, from Jupiter.
Wasn't Bill Parcells another one of his friends?
Though that crew, and Bill Parcells would sit on the bench in spring training, which there's no like current comp for. It would be like, I guess, Andy Reid. For the younger audience, Parcells was like the biggest name in the NFL. He would just be sitting on the Cardinals bench during a spring training game.
Tony's not a big enough Cardinal fan to go into the Hall of Fame as one. That's from the Jeffco Piss Missile in the Air Comfort Service text line. And Doug, they're not happy in the early going.
Gosh, what did he go in as?
Blank hat, which I always thought was silly. And he said he didn't want to disrespect the A's or the White Sox. I thought he was overthinking it, which he admitted, not using Albert in the All-Star game, biggest mistake of his career. Maybe overthinking it. I think you go in as a Cardinal with your legacy here, but that's how he thinks. That's how he thinks.
Well, he had some awfully good teams in Oakland, though, too. I can't blame him for going in, showing respect to the other teams.
Why are you sideways with the piss missile?
Well, I think you're looking for things to be upset by if you're worried about Tony La Russa's hat going into the Hall of Fame.
Get involved on the program. Chairman Kurt Manning, the Callier and Thompson phone lines, 314-974-0101. You can join the Jeffco Piss Missile by texting in the Air Comfort Service text inbox at 314-399-9646. And then you got the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Doug, let's take a gander and see what's doing in there today.
Okay.
Because as you know, there are now rankings for the people chatting in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, courtesy of YouTube. And DJ Patty Cakes is currently number one. And he's talking with Kitty Bates, who's number 2, and John Scores, who's number 3. And they are in there talking it over at youtube.com/TMASTL. And, of course, just to type in TMASTL when you open up the YouTube app. And the next thing you know, you can watch the program, you can listen to it, you can go back and listen to it anytime you want, and also interact if you want to. Or just watch the chat, which is presented to you by Michelob Ultra. And Tiny PP just said, taste me, Tim?
Oh.
That's in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. I'd be happy to.
You would?
Now, it sounds like right there you're kink shaming. Just like
I do. Absolutely, I do.
Tinge of it.
Yeah.
Wreck me, Doug.
How about that? There's your producer.
Now, why would you say a thing like that to me for? Why you want to go and say a thing like that for, man?
I don't remember the context, but I stand by my statement. Wreck me, Doug.
I had a game plan last night that I was going to get Edmonds, if we were talking more than 5 seconds. I was going to have him record some new audio for you boys where he says, suck it, Doug. And we kind of laugh. And he says, you too, McKernan and Jackie. But it just never quite happened.
Stop it, ball game.
So what was your interaction?
Just he was walking in and he was getting there, seeing the boys. He said, hey, Matheny. And then bigger names were around the corner. So he'd say, hey, how you doing? Like,
Gone.
and then later saw him again, like, hey, what's up? It was just brief. Never a moment where we needed any media interaction because, of course, he doesn't do media.
Yeah.
He's a farmer. But my
He
plan...
wasn't in overalls or anything, was he?
No. And him
Plaid
giving...
shirt.
He gives LaRussa more crap than anyone, which was very entertaining. But I really wanted to come back with some fun audio for you guys. But I failed.
Oh, no. No.
He didn't seem maybe... Oh, it just wasn't the right moment.
Yeah, you got to pick up reads.
Yeah.
Well, you are welcome to partake in the program, and we're looking forward to Joe Buck partaking in the program. Lots to discuss with him. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I did tell Will Clark, I go, we played your rant last week. He goes, which one? And I said, he goes, oh, man, that was so blown out of proportion. And I'm thinking... But you cut the audio, like ripping the guy. He goes, we're not talking about that, are we? I said, no, we're not talking about
Who is he? Who is he ripping? Devers?
Oh,
Or
you
Devers?
weren't here. He ripped the Red Sox announcer, who is the brother of the Giants announcer, Dave Fleming.
Got it.
And Devers was a topic of conversation on the field before the game. Will's talking to Dave Fleming, Giants announcer, and saying, oh, yeah, I was supposed to meet Devers the other. We're going to work on first base, and he didn't show up. But I don't think he was ripping him. Dave Fleming's brother, Red Sox announcer, then said on the air, oh, apparently Devers is too good to show up to meet Will. And Will was furious because it was...
And Will Fleming, you can go off, mother... All right? You want to take a conversation that we're having and then blow it out of proportion because you're a East Coast piece of shit reporter? Off.
So that was taken out of context.
I enjoy when our listening audience gets a chance to hear what it's really like when the microphones aren't and the cameras aren't on. But in this case, now here's Will Clark.
Well,
and
that
he
was
just
on a
didn't
podcast.
No, I understand, but I mean, you would have these conversations with
Right.
guys, and hell, I talk like this, away from the microphones, and I just personally find it incredibly refreshing. So God bless America.
Podcasting platforms have opened up a lot of that.
Doug, the barrier to entry has been reduced substantially. Thank God for podcasting for people like us, and thank God for OnlyFans for people like many of my friends.
You have friends on OnlyFans?
Oh, yeah, you better believe it. Friends of the show, for that matter. Yeah.
Really?
Polling's on OnlyFans?
I don't know.
Names we would
Text him.
know?
Sure.
Like, not the porn stars. Are you talking the porn stars?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, who else would I be talking about?
I don't know.
Like my neighbor?
I thought someone in this room.
Like ball writers.
That's someone in the room.
So, Doug, when there's a LaRussa event, behind the curtain, you'll run into a Pro Football Hall of Fame GM. Tim's behind the curtain like, hey, were you on OnlyFans?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Plowsy was threatening to go on OnlyFans and got the go-ahead here.
Yeah, Martin, this predates you, but one of our first meetings with program director of operations here at Hubbard Radio, Tommy Mattern, the Plowhawk. Jackson, you don't have a drop of the Plowhawk to give the 101 ESPN audience who may not be familiar with his work just a little
Taste.
small taste.
That's a little overboard. You can say you're going to rub honey all over my body, but don't talk about my mother.
Martin, there's an example for the audience. In the meeting, asked for permission from Hubbard to start an OnlyFans account.
Okay.
Send me some requests, boys.
Maybe
I was told it was okay.
maybe don't bring that up early on in the arrangement with the new station.
Let me ask the Plowmaster this.
Joe Strauss, not necessarily a
Plowmaster.
fan of the Plowhawks takes. The Michelob Ultra YouTube chat active as the day is long. Doug's Broken Gong says, I love the casual OnlyFans porn star conversation on an ESPN radio show. Thank you. That's what I bring to the table. That's who I am. And, of course, the Air Comfort Service text line active as the day is long as well at 314-399-9646. Joe Buck on the Callier and Thompson phone lines. That is coming your way on the Stiefel dossier at 9 o'clock. And then we've got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Design Air is online at DesignAirService.com. Doug, 2 days ago we had glorious conditions. Certainly we had rain, don't get me wrong, but temperature-wise, and then sweet mother of mercy yesterday. Sweet mother of mercy yesterday. And guess what? It's going to get more intense here over the weekend and then into next week. Here's your high on Tuesday, 95. Here's your high on Wednesday, 95. Here's your high on Thursday, 96. Here's your high on Friday, 94. And not a lick of precipitation in the forecast. Sweet mother of mercy. If you have an air conditioning issue, you want to go to DesignAirService.com and work with the longest running sponsor on TMA, and that is Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling. DesignAirService.com. Martin is a client. Doug is a client. I'm a client. And you can become a client just by going to DesignAirService.com. The Jeffco piss missile is back, and he is not happy. I don't know who he's not happy with, but he says, you shut your mouth.
Oh, who is he talking to?
All of us.
Okay. Well, it's hard to do a radio show when you all shut your mouth.
There's times when Jackie doesn't have a mic and he just kind of gets the old grease poured out. It's for the YouTube audience only.
Shout out to Nell.
That's correct, Jodie Foster. Was that 95?
I don't know the years, Tim.
It's TMA. The program's presented by Brown and Croup, and this is 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
Wainwright, gonna take the mound. He's confident, he's gonna shut you down. Molina, behind the plate, dare you to steal. It's already too late. Holiday, coming up the bat. He's about to smack a 3-run jack. Belchine, out in the field. His gold gloves like a solid shield. We are the Cardinals. We wanna win. Now is the time. The playoffs begin. Summer is over. Around October. The quest for the best will put you to the test. The chase is on. The chase is on. It's playoff time.
Doug, this is a song titled Sixth Seed in the National League Playoffs.
It's one of the best musical compositions I've ever heard.
Good for you for acknowledging it finally.
Yeah. It's sophisticated.
Yes.
It's
mature.
It moves a person.
Yeah.
It's just what music can be when done well.
It's TMA 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel where friends gather and talk it over while watching the program. And it's youtube.com/TMA STL. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. Joe Buck with us coming up at 9 o'clock. And looking forward to our conversation with Joe. He said he would do 8, but he's got camp drop-offs. Drop-off. I had camp drop-off and pick-up yesterday. It's camp season, Doug, for the Tykes.
Mm-hmm. Get them out of the house for a few hours a day.
People don't understand the booking wars that go on here, whether they're available at a certain time slot. And then there's Sweet Kyle who said, it might be hard to hear me with the blower on my back blowing grass clippings.
I got meat and potatoes friends.
Yeah, that was a tough booking because I said, could you turn the blower off for 5 minutes of airtime?
He's got work to do.
Okay, we negotiated that. Joe's got camp drop-off.
That's correct.
I'd like to hear him. I would actually prefer he called during drop-off and getting yelled at by some mom. The Michael Keaton, you're doing it wrong. Drop-off's a big thing. Strickland always said he gets stressed out, getting yelled at by parents. A lot of moms.
Like other parents? Or
yeah, when
they're yelling?
doing drop-off, you don't
camps?
Stop there. Even school.
Sure.
There's a lot of barking that goes on.
There's a theory, Martin, that whereas Mr. Licks, who has come after you, unfortunately, in his phone calls, is not a private equity guy, but rather handling the carpool at Our Lady of the Pillar. And some of our listeners are convinced that that's his responsibility every morning.
That he's out there directing parental traffic?
And his father-in-law is bankrolling him, and he's really over at Our Lady of the Pillar, Doug. Tough area. But, yeah, he's over there handling that.
Just directing the cars in and out.
Yeah.
Is there a long future in that? I mean, at some point, your kids grow up and move on. Are you just out of work at that point?
It's not something that I have a whole lot of knowledge on, but it is something that I think is a fair question. If that's what Mr. Licks is looking to do,
okay,
he's a young man.
Maybe you make so much money you don't need to do anything else after a kid hits 8th grade.
Yeah, his portfolio might be that.
Well, I will say, Tim, with you here on the air, your wife will experience all these drop-off potential nightmares, so you may have to ask her some morning rush anecdotes. There are a lot of it. All it takes, Doug, one parent thinks they're above the rules, and it sets off the whole line.
Is that what happens?
It does, yeah. If they stop in a spot, now you just backed up 30 cars. Really? Oh, little Susie, get your lunchbox and get out of the damn car. May have been uttered in our car a few times.
Why are you yelling?
A.K. Adams.
At St. Kitty's, you even got your own parking spot assigned. So if someone else was in it for the afternoon pickup, there's hell to pay.
Wow, assigned parking spots at St. Kitty's.
I guess, yeah. Based on how old your kid was.
That.
I think the younger kids, the parking spot was closer to the building and so on. They wanted everyone to get in the cars before people drove away and ran into a few kids.
That seems like a prime opportunity for some beak wedding. You know what I mean? Like
beak wedding.
You pay a little bit here, and maybe your spot's a little closer. Maybe someone starts handling that allocation of parking spots.
Wow, how players make teams at private schools. Very unfortunate. Jackson, they are active in this Air Comfort Service text inbox. And the Jeffco piss missile in particular. He says, I'm not mad at you, Tim. Just don't want to hear about this god-awful weather coming up. Ha ha. That's the Jeffco piss missile. And what he was unhappy with initially was Tony La Russa not wearing a Cardinal cap into the Hall of Fame. Then he said, you shut your mouth. We didn't know what that was. And it turns out it was directed at me for giving the forecast over the next week and change, Doug, which features highs in the mid to upper 90s. And that's what the Jeffco Piss Missile is now on hand. So there you go. You can express your disdain, 314-399-9646. And the Golden Hoosier Shoe says, I'm excited about open scoreboard updates and the subsequent complaints from all of the pores in the audience. Doug, that's a reference to what you call the Open.
British Open.
Others call the British Open.
Right.
And wow, what a leaderboard we have. Let's head on over to Northern Ireland, where Jakob Skov Olesen is your leader, tied with Haotong Lee at 4 under par. Oh, did somebody say the name Saddam Kawakajana? They did, because he's 1 stroke off the lead, and this is NBC's Fantasy with Olesen, Lee, and Kawakajana at the top of the leaderboard.
Okay.
Hello, friends.
When I watch that tournament, I just wonder why you don't cut the grass. That rough is a mess. Get a mower out there.
Why do you hate links?
Invest in a lawnmower. Some of the course is fine, but other parts of it look like it hadn't seen a lawnmower in decades. And, of course, it's raining. Always seems to be raining.
Seems like you're going after the Irish people, and I can't have that.
Well,
if it weren't, I feel like they would add a few drops to the lens just to give it that vibe.
See, look at that grass. Oh, my goodness. Cut it.
Scotty Scheffler is 2 under. He is 2 back of the Olesen-Lee tandem at the top of the
Probably
leaderboard.
intimidated.
I would imagine so. Phil Mickelson is turning back the clock. He is 1 under par and 3 back. He has completed his round. John Rahm, Xander Schauffele also at 1 under par. U.S. Open winner J.J. Spawn, 1 under par. 2019 Open winner at Royal Portrush, Shane Lowry, is made the turn, Doug, and he is 1 under par as well. So there are some of the names from the prominent golfers out on the course and the strangers at the top of the leaderboard. If you watched the Spread Zone yesterday, presented by FanDuel, one of the plays that I gave was, there will be somebody on the leaderboard. You have no idea who the hell the gentleman is. I did not expect the first 3 names on the leaderboard to be people I did not recognize.
No.
But
You have
that's
every
what
reason to be hopping mad.
I'm pretty pissed.
Yeah.
But this is what goes on, and then usually by Sunday, order's restored.
Right. The cream rises. So don't worry too much. It's early. Some of these guys don't know how to play in the forest conditions when the grass isn't cut.
Why do you hate Northern Ireland, Doug? That's from the 618.
Well, I've never been there to hate it. I don't hate it. I just think the golf courses ought to cut more of the grass.
The Irish are lazy. That's from the Grey Summit Grey Goose Guzzler. Worsonwood's Wacko says it's Northern Ireland, Doug. They don't work. And
no one works in Northern Ireland?
These are the thoughts that are coming in.
What's going on? Fine people.
Thanks, Jackson. Thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Alliance,
I mean, we're more of a Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, for sure.
Pairing here, me and Martin, but
give back the 6
the
counties.
North is fine. I mean, things have been settled down. I don't think there have been too many car bombings in the last few years. So.
Now, am I correct in saying Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, but Ireland is not?
Correct.
The Republic.
Okay.
In the name of the Father, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. Well,
Doug hates the British, too, though. That's from the Banana Man. You hate the British?
I don't hate the British, no. Why would I hate the British? I would have hated them, I guess, in the 1700s.
What about the War of 1812? You would have traded sides?
I wouldn't have liked them then either. No.
Doug had to think that back to his pro-America roots. Hold on. No, I was anti-British in 1776.
Yeah.
You guys talk golf, vacations, and private schools, while us poors eat bologna and shovel coal all day. Damn you, nobles. That's from caller Buzz, who won the TMA Listener of the Month in June 2023.
Damn you, nobles. That's a pretty good name for a show. Damn you, nobles.
Well, FS1's got some openings.
They do, but it looks like Jackie Papers, this was in your links that you sent over last evening, and that is Barstool is going to be replacing the programs that were whacked. Dave Portnoy, Doug, El Presidente, on social media, is going to be on Fox Sports' Big Noon college football show. And then they will have other programs that will include Big Cat and other Barstool personalities filling FS1's vacancies after they got rid of 3 shows earlier this week.
Big Cat is Andres Galarraga.
El Gato Grande, he was with the Cardinals. Martin, was that 92 or 93? And then he went to Colorado and became the second coming with Dante Bichette and Vinny Castilla and Larry Walker.
He was a good hitter. And now he's got this show on Fox Sports?
No. This is Big Cat, who does a program called Pardon My Take with PFT commenter.
Okay.
Dan Katz is his real name.
Oh. So we're just supposed to forget about Andres Galarraga? Just like that?
Well, no, I'm doing a deep dive now on his stats. What do you think, Doug? Career home runs.
Should we dedicate the show to him?
He was good. I'll say.
Montreal superstar. Pit stop in St. Louis. That was 92, Tim.
Yes, 380 home runs.
Anyone else?
Feels too high.
Does it?
I've never heard of this gentleman before.
Okay.
What in the name? For heaven's sake.
The big
Nice show prep, ass.
5-time All-Star. 399.
Oh.
$3.99. Nicely
Yes.
done, Doug.
I
Wow.
would- and
he stopped at $3.99.
Wouldn't that eat at you? Looks like he played at the age of 43.
To try to get that one
In
home run?
2004, he played in 7 games.
Someone serve it up.
And he
Serve
hit
it up.
a 1. He must have been thinking, if I could just get... if you'd gotten to 400, you might be in the Hall of Fame discussion. What'd you end up? Ooh, 399. I think it bothers Holiday. His career batting average is 299.
Oh, is that right?
He was always at 300 or better, and finished at 299.
Roberto Clemente got just exactly 3,000 hits before he was killed.
And Alex Rodriguez, how many home runs does he have?
696, I think.
I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Why, he quit?
Yes.
4 short.
Yeah.
You do that in a month.
If he had stayed clean, allegedly, he might have gone down as one of the absolute best players in the history of the game, like, top 5.
I agree with that.
Because as a shortstop hitting like that,
Yeah.
he was really incredible.
696 home runs, over 300 stolen bases, over 3,000 hits, over 2,000 RBIs.
Yeah, but it seems like he's largely forgotten when people have their list of the greatest players of all time. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that's just me. But those steroid allegations, they really taint the guy's career.
Well, in his case, he acknowledged it.
Yeah.
But he told Peter Gammons in a sit-down, Peter, that was a loosey-goosey era. And that was just sort of the...
He spoke with a British accent for the interview?
You got to find the audio. Peter, you have to understand, loosey-goosey time. And everybody's like, oh, okay, fine. It was loosey-goosey, Doug, when you rob the bank and you're in front of the judge, Vaughn, what were you thinking with that gun in your hand? Oh, Your Honor, it was a loosey-goosey time.
Security didn't seem to care much.
It was a little loosey-goosey. He was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
2,000 over 2,000
I think
RBI.
it might be something to, like, he's kind of a brand now. Like, he's such a big businessman.
Timberwolves owner.
Yeah, and then he's on TV. And then you follow him on social media. He's very corporatized, so maybe that kind of people don't think of him immediately when it comes to like greatest baseball players of all time.
He comes off very well on TV.
Oh yeah,
very likable guy. And
I don't think he's very
guy.
charismatic.
Yeah,
but yeah, just some about that maybe.
How's he done in the voting? Does he even register? Cooperstown?
It's crowdsourcing. And
I'll look it up.
But
It's
anti-kink shaming?
Smokes.
Anti-crowdsourcing?
Yeah.
Pro-liberty.
Jackson, what do you think of... I never watched... and actually somehow when I would flip it on would be irritated by Fox's Big Noon. I don't know what it is. It's like a tribute to the 2005 college football season.
Yeah.
With Brady Quinn and Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
And who else is on the program?
Urban Meyer now?
Urban Meyer on there. It's just not
Mark
something...
Ingram used to be on
Mark
there.
Ingram, yeah.
It really hits for me as a, kids
Matt
of the
Leinart,
mid-aughts.
maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Leinart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it was like 3 guys who played in that famous game at Notre Dame Stadium in 2005. Right. But either way, I didn't really watch it anyway. My show is ESPN's. I don't care, but this certainly got a lot of reaction because Barstool polarizes people, and whether they really like it or they really dislike it, then it becomes a personality test. Your thoughts on this move?
I think for FS1, I think it's a great play on their part, because I think just replacing, former athletes or other longtime media people with the same thing, just different people, wouldn't really resonate. But this is like, this is certainly tapping into a younger demographic. And Barstool has a history with ESPN that, didn't go great. So you kind of have like this built-in little rivalry going on already. And I think that's an interesting aspect of it. It's kind of odd to me that just Portnoy would be on that big noon show, considering Barstool has their own college kind of game day show that they do that's pretty popular. But the money must have been right, man. And,
but it's pretty clear they're ripping off the McAfee ESPN idea, isn't it? Like to bring this host on that has
everything's a ripoff of something.
I know, it's just amazing to me. I wouldn't mind being an executive for FS1, and I'll just try and hire a bunch of ESPN people. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just do what they kind of tried also.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's like they like some people get fired from FS1, and then like they get back into the pond, and then you pick up other people who got thrown in the pond. It's like, why not bring in some new blood, some new fish?
New fish.
Some people who have established a brand, just not in the traditional way. I think that's more where people are going anyways, so why not get ahead of it?
All right. This is what we're talking about, Saturday football shows?
Wait, that and...
Doug is like, I'm sorry.
Doug's on a tape delay.
Yeah.
That...
The Saturday pregame.
And then also
shows.
other FS1 shows that they'll be dealing with Barstool.
So it'd be a larger agreement to help program.
Yeah.
Fill the middle of the day.
Right.
Since they just got rid of a bunch of shows that started 9 months ago.
The world is on Pat McAfee and Dave Portnoy overload. That's from the 314.
There's a lot of McAfee out there, that's for sure. But, boy, he's got some energy. Holy smokes.
Well, anytime you bring up whether it be McAfee or Portnoy/Barstool, it elicits emotion. And whether the emotion is good or bad, emotion has positive ramifications. Apathy does not. And I assure you, are quite aware of the fact that they are polarizing and enjoy that. So it draws attention to a show that otherwise didn't have much attention unless you really enjoyed the 2005 college football season.
I've forgotten what happened last year, much less 2005.
Congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, yeah, they had a pretty good year, didn't they?
Fighting Irish.
They got hot at the right time, which is what Doug is always advising the local teams.
You can just get hot. You can win the baby.
Barstool and McAfee were cool during COVID when everything sucked. Now they suck as well. That's from the 314. Doug, there's the breakdown.
Everything sucked during COVID? Most
what
things.
Was good during COVID?
Zoom came into being.
Yeah.
I hate that's lived on. It's become more and more acceptable for good interviews just over Zoom. And it's like, I just think it became a thing in COVID and people got used to it. And now it's just, it's fine. And really back then, you'd be like, oh, we got to get a guest, get them in studio.
Yes, and it was the greatest that they would do it, but it's never happened. And
now it's just, hey, are you there? You got your headset on? Okay. And everybody's got the giant cans on their ears and the bookshelf behind them. That's every show. Mm-hmm. Get them in the studio.
A lot easier for the interview subject, obviously, to just go into their computer room at home and do it and not drive downtown somewhere and wait around for an interview.
Barstool's popular for 19-year-olds, annoying, angry women, and anyone without a brain. Doug, that's from Mongo, and he is not a fan.
No, doesn't sound like it.
I don't think that's the case.
It's for 19-year-olds who like to annoy older women? Is that what you said?
No, I didn't. Mongo did.
Okay.
He said Barstool is popular for 19-year-olds, comma, annoying, angry women, comma, and anyone without a brain. That's Mongo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too broad of a look at it.
So that's the show for annoying, angry women?
I can't speak to that. I am not angry nor a woman.
Is ours a show for annoying, angry women?
Angry women, call in. Good God.
Yeah, 314-974-0101 is how you can call in. Angry or otherwise, doesn't really matter. Callier and Thompson's the sponsor of the phone lines. The program is TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Brown and Crouppen is online at brownandcrouppen.com. Ed Herman in studio earlier this week. We enjoy having Ed and Andy Crouppen and Terry Crouppen come in and talk it over. Been title sponsor of TMA now for a couple of years. They are local through and through. That was one of the things Ed was focused on when he was in studio and talking with us on Tuesday. And if you're in a spot where you need a personal injury attorney, wouldn't you want somebody who is local? Wouldn't you want a firm that is local? local, that knows the legal environment, that you can meet with directly. Martin, you were talking about not liking Zoom. Well, great. You can go down to the Hill and meet with the people at Brown and Crouppen. I've been in those offices. They just built them here in the last couple of years. Unbelievable. Right across from Ragazzi's, Doug. And maybe a couple blocks to the south of Adriana's.
Yeah.
That's Brown and Crouppen, local, committed to the St. Louis area, founded in the St. Louis area in 1979. It's Brown and Crouppen, 314-222-2222, or online at brownandcrouppen.com. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. And Paulie Baroni is in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, and he says Papers isn't a woman. He just acts like one. What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
What is that supposed to mean?
How will I recover?
Was it hurtful at all?
Oh, yeah, I'm reeling. Yep. Licking my
Paulie
wounds.
Baroni.
Licking my wounds.
Now, Paul Baroni almost feels like a real name. Are people starting to use their real? That's a new
I would
twist.
short that market. I would
Big
short
short.
that market.
Big
Jackson calls it a big short. And that starred Christian Bale, am I right? Steve Carell?
Bale, Steve Carell.
Brad Pitt.
Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy Strong was in there.
Yeah, Kendall Roy up in there.
I feel like it'd be a good twist. Start using your real name, and we'll just assume it's a fake name. Wouldn't that be a great
That's
twist?
not a bad idea.
3D chess.
The program's called TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN. On the Stiefel dossier today, Joe Buck is going to be with us at 9 o'clock, and we're looking forward to talking it over with him. Doug, the ESPYs were last night, and Little Jackie Papers put together a supercut from the ESPYs.
A supercut.
I like that.
Not just a montage, but a supercut.
That's correct. The
Okay.
supercut is coming your way. This is TMA 101 ESPN.
Hey, this is Jackson with a Sports Center update, and that's driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals will be back in action tomorrow evening, taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's a late West Coast game. It's going to be an 8:40 p.m. first pitch tomorrow as the Cardinals resume for the second half of the season. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Burritos, Totitos, the Doritos, and Cheetos, Fritos, Mojitos, and the Senoritos, Flamingos, and Trios with the jalapenos. Oh, yeah.
It's TMA 101 ESPN shows presented by Brown and Crouppen. My name is Tim McKernan. On my right is Doug Vaughn. On his right is Martin Kilcoyne. In front of us all is little Jackie Papers, a 27-year-old rising star in this industry, which I would imagine he will be out of within the next 5 years.
Really? You're getting out?
No time soon. I'm
okay.
Happy.
You got some feelers out?
No.
Right. I noticed your LinkedIn manifesto the other day, and that's when I thought he's got feelers out.
Oof. I'm going to have to hit that forgot password on LinkedIn next time I hop on there.
What goes on LinkedIn? I don't get a chance to look at it as much as I should.
Shameless bragging about yourself. And
Shot it.
That's pretty much
my modus operandi for the last 21 years.
That's pretty much all social media, isn't it?
Yeah, but LinkedIn is even more so.
LinkedIn is the most bragging?
Yeah, of like trivial things too. Like of objectives that only people in your company would know, but you're flexing. I don't know.
Can you give me an example? I apologize for asking for a concrete.
Though. It's not fair because I don't ever go on there anymore. I'm basing this off of what I saw like 4 years ago.
Do you get an alumni magazine from Mizzou, like a quarterly or monthly? Do you get something from Mizzou?
They send out the person who attended but didn't graduate magazine to me.
Okay.
you were Brad Pitt.
It's correct.
Well, for example, the Marquette magazine, I don't think it's monthly, but in the back, it always, class of, and it'll note something they did, accomplished in their career. And I'm sure submitted by the person. So you'll often get, Fred Wallerstein, class of 92, was promoted to associate assistant sales rep.
Right. It's essentially like a big Christmas
Industries. And you're like, oh, well, sounds just like a job. There's a lot of that goes on.
A lot of that. Like again, like some objective or milestone you hit at your job that doesn't really resonate with people who don't work either at your company or industry, and then like a bunch of people liking it, saying like, great work, canned answers and stuff.
Tim McKernan, promoted, assistant associate executive producer, mornings, WZYO.
I got it, Doug.
Zanesville, Ohio. Oh, good.
I just went on my old LinkedIn page, and a lot of people saying, congratulations on another year at Channel 4. Stop it! I am not there.
Well,
haven't been 4 years.
Well, why don't you update your LinkedIn?
This is the first time I've been on it in a while.
Chairman Kurt, you just sent me a screenshot of a LinkedIn post. It says, I got fired from my job. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now I'm a 29-year-old millionaire with 4 Teslas and 3 houses. Sounds too good to be true? It is. I made it all up. Don't envy people on social media. They tend to exaggerate their success. That is a LinkedIn post.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds too good to be true. It is.
Chase this dough and get money.
How about that? The people at my company who post on LinkedIn like it's a cloud-based postcard to themselves. Oh, I enjoy that. Right. A cloud-based postcard to themselves. Always seem to be the ones who never return phone calls or emails. It's a fun dynamic to observe. Doug, that's from Al in Dadeville, and he loves the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay. Well, that was the website to go on several years back, wasn't it? Try to find a job or connect with somebody?
Connections, yeah. Essentially putting your network into an app.
Is it a hookup site too?
I bet somewhere, somehow, there's been some sort of hookup through LinkedIn,
but
whether
now
directly or indirectly.
If you're looking for a job, Indeed.com would be the #1 spot.
That's like a third-party application site.
Yeah.
Just essentially hosts companies' applications for them.
Right. Tim, to give you perspective on what LinkedIn is, imagine instead of that girl from high school who posts nonstop about cryptic quotes about hanging in there, instead it's Jeb from accounting bragging about how his work saved the company $312 a month to other people bragging about their accomplishments that nobody cares about. LinkedIn is a platform people use to prove to their bosses they shouldn't be fired. That's from Steven Time.
Okay.
It's refreshing to see rich white women.
Are there a lot of them on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Are there?
Yeah.
Well, Jackie, how did you find this job? Indeed, LinkedIn, or was there
That's a great question.
Or like a posted note at
Listening to the
convenience
Tim
store?
McKernan Show podcast at an opportune time.
The Tim
Really?
McKernan Show podcast makes people money.
Yep.
So you
makes careers.
You ruined Jackson's life by throwing it out there in a podcast. I feel like knowing management at the time, just put a little post-it note over there at there's a Hooks.
Post-it
The
note.
direct quote was looking at Gangster Pete and myself across the desk. Is he ready to take the keys, big boy?
Martin, that makes you mad, doesn't it?
What a jackass. I picture him saying, "Oh, neighborhood Hooks. They just put a little post-it note. People walking in, people walking out. They'll see a little post-it note. Chance of big opportunity." And like, no, but you could put it on LinkedIn or Indeed. Oh, post-it note up there, right next to the kids' car wash.
Post-it note at Hugs.
Soliciting the finest in Glendale.
Jackson, you put together a supercut of Shane Gillis's monologue, and Doug, there's hashtag backlashes, there's hashtag outrage on social media.
Well, there always is, no matter what happens. So we'd like to hear it.
He's probably a little edgy for that crowd.
Certainly.
Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. Caitlin Clark, she and I have a lot in common. We're both whites from the Midwest who have nailed a bunch of threes. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that. Shohei Ohtani couldn't make it tonight. Man, I hope his interpreter didn't bet that he was going to be here. No one's been able to do what he does at so many positions, pitcher, hitter, and bookie. A bookie is what Bill Belichick reads to his girlfriend before bedtime. They do. They read The Very Horny Caterpillar, The Little Engine That Could But Needed a Pill First, and of course, the classic Goodnight Boobs. Also, I'm not trashing Bill Belichick. First off, he's 73 years old and he's dating a hot 24-year-old, and people are criticizing him? What happened to this country? We used to be a great country. He won 6 Super Bowls. Yeah, he's dating a hot 24-year-old. Maybe if you guys won 6 Super Bowls, you wouldn't be sitting next to a fat, ugly dog wife.
Oh.
They let me do it. I don't.
Wow, that's how we end.
That's how it ends. Doug is
Wow.
not going to be happy with the edit point. I like the supercut, Jackson, but you're going to have to hear about it now from
I
Doug
didn't know
Bullock.
what sounder to use. I was going to be like a bark, like ruff ruff. But I thought that was a little too on the nose. I thought it was really funny. The whole monologue was really good.
Yeah, it does sound funny.
I enjoyed the bookie, what he reads to his girlfriend. The bookie.
Yeah. There's obviously more to it, the monologue, if you want. Well, it's like 10-minute monologue, but that's what I thought were some of the highlights.
I saw the clip they did on the creation of the Tush Push. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Enjoyed that with Shane Gillis playing a janitor in a locker room and explaining the play. That was quality material. The monologue, quality material. Are there really people, like, is there a column?
Like a think piece?
Like, did Christine Brennan get out the typewriter? I'm just assuming that there's got to be something. But maybe there's not. Maybe people are going, screw it. People have moved on. If that's the case, God bless America, Doug.
Oh, someone will be upset, and it'll get retweeted or whatever.
Nice.
And you know,
I would
argue about it for a couple of days, and
I'll bet you anything, they'll get mad at the ESPN executives for allowing him to be the guy because he's going to make fun of the WNBA. ESPN does not like that one bit, I guarantee. But they thought, all right, let's be a little risque here. And now they're going to be mad that they let him get up. Don't you think the main flack would be about his poking fun at the WNBA?
Yeah.
8 hours ago in the Economic Times, the title of the story is Shane Gillis under fire for roasting Caitlin Clark and Donald Trump at the 2025 ESPYs.
Economic Times.
Yeah.
He roasted Caitlin Clark?
I don't know.
Just that one joke we heard wasn't really a roast.
I don't think Jackson had the joke in there that may have caught the backlash. I don't think Shane cares about the backlash.
No.
They are not happy in the Air Comfort Service text inbox with Jackson leaving out the Caitlin Clark Waffle House joke. Jackson, was that a strategic edit?
It was either that or the Epstein one. So, this is flip a coin. Just trying to,
You did your best, so pale.
You can't please everybody.
So pale.
You can't please everybody.
That was fine.
If they're complaining about it, then they've heard the jokes. I don't get the point. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Okay.
They wanted you to share it with the masses.
I shared enough.
Sarah Spain hated it because of the WNBA stuff, of course. That's from Gerard Chadwell. That was the think piece? Sarah Spain had a think piece?
Gotta be honest, I'm not positive who Sarah Spain is.
Used to be on ESPN
now I
shows. I don't know if she still is or not.
Big with Lebitard, maybe?
She does a podcast now, daily podcast.
Okay.
It's tough to get one of those. Yeah. Program's called TMA. It's presented by Brown & Crouppen, 101 ESPN, and the TMA STL YouTube channel. This is the Morning After, presented by Brown & Crouppen. Aesthetic design and build to customize your outdoor living spaces. Aesthetic Design and Build has been building high-quality custom decks and outdoor living spaces now in the St. Louis area for over 30 years. Dan and his team have a showroom in Chesterfield Valley. I have visited it. I was so impressed. I had them to my house, and they walked me through all the different types of custom work they're capable of doing. They can do full-on custom decks. They can add on a pergola for you, and if you are looking to shade your covered patio with retractable screens, they do that as well. They really do have answers for it all. They offer custom deck design, opening and closing pergolas, and roof motorized shade and screens and under deck ceilings. Come check out that showroom in Chesterfield Valley and let their expert team walk you through all the different outdoor solutions that they offer, from pergolas and retractable screens all the way to their patented underdecking system. Their goal is to provide a custom solution that matches the look and feel of your home. It's Aesthetic Design and Build, outdoor living spaces expertly designed. Check out Aesthetic Design and Build online at aestheticdesignandbuild.com and let them know I sent you their way. Well, I hope as you're waking up in St. Louis, this tune inspires you to make it a great day. Tim McKernan with you here.
You got a coffee mug over there?
I do. And we'll have a look at the 5-day coming up. It's TMA presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Coming up in less than an hour, Joe Buck will be joining us on the Callier and Thompson phone lines. Looking forward to that conversation, as well as your emails for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. And you can email in to compete with the greats the morning after at InsideSTL.com for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Doug, let's take a look at the action over in Northern Ireland.
Okay.
And wow, what a leaderboard we have. It's Jakob Skov Olesen and Hao Tong Lee tied at the top of the leaderboard at 4 under par. Oh, who's that I see? T3? Why, that's Matthew Jordan and Saddam Kawakajana.
Oh, sure.
And oh, look, it's Ricky Kawamoto, who's just a stroke back and tied with Jesper Svensson, who I thought was 60, but is apparently mounting a Sunday charge.
Is he that old? Jesper. That's a good name. Jesper Svensson.
No, this doesn't look like the guy who wore the hat with like it was
Parnevik?
Yeah. Parnevik. That's who I'm thinking of.
Parnevik. Was it his nanny?
Yes. Tiger Woods' wife.
That was
Elin Nordegren was
Jesper's.
That's correct.
Nanny, okay. And then Jesper got a little sideways with Eldrick because things fell apart with Elin.
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
Okay. And then there was the...
well, she did take it like a wedge to his car.
Yeah. Is that clickbait that's out there? She really did tear down the house in Jupiter, though, and then built a new one? Like that when she inherited the house?
Yeah.
It's one of, the stories at the bottom of the page. Eat fish oil and become Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then you click on it, and it's sign up here.
They're actually really close now.
The two of them,
yeah.
But there's a story that after the divorce and there was a little animosity that she tore down this beautiful home.
Was there anything she was unhappy about?
And then rebuilt it almost exactly the same, I guess, because he had to pay for it. It's one of those stories that always pops up at the bottom of the page. Look at so-and-so now. You used to watch her in the 1970s. You won't believe. Click here. And then there's always Elin Nordegren tears down whole house.
But you got to go through 500 ads to actually get to the bottom line.
Lisa, who is not a fan of Ali Marmol or John Mozeliak, did go last night at Martin, and she has sent in a picture of herself with Reggie Sanders at Stiefel Theater. Subject, legit manager and team in town. And this Reggie Sanders was so nice and making hot.
What does that mean? So nice and making hot. What does that mean?
He's you're going to have to call into the Callier.
He's in incredible shape, and he has not aged in 20 years.
Right.
You were hot, weren't you?
Darn right I was.
Well, sure she was.
He's an absolute delight. I love Reggie Sanders.
He was a delight. I remember interviewing when he was at the Braves and he was playing the Cardinals in the playoffs, and I'm like, man, it's like the friendliest effing guy I've ever met. And that's the way he is. He's unbelievable.
I think we had him on the morning grind, and we came back with the Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere. Because he's played for so many teams. And over 300 home runs. He was a great stolen base and power guy, but he played for a lot of teams. And he's just totally great. I talked to him for a while after. He works for the Royals, and he's buddies with Joel Goldberg. So I actually talked to him for a while after the event. He's a delight. I thought Lisa would point out, probably not for air, but they're calling out all the different players that were at the LaRousse event last night. Skip Schumacher in the audience. And Joe said, Skip, come home. Skip, come home. And I think he was just kind of messing around. But Lisa has been on that for a while. She wants Skip as the manager.
Okay. I remember when Reggie Sanders first got to the Cardinals. I think he'd been in Arizona before.
Yeah.
And he said something to the effect, because we laughed about it at Channel 4 going back through the interview. He said, it's nice to be here in the Central Division after all those years in the Western League. The Western League.
Outpost. He told a story where there was a big, charity event in Arizona, and he said he was so excited. LaRousse invited him, and he said they actually had kind of like a red carpet, and he said, and the camera's out. He said, I'm getting interviewed, and he said, I was just kind of feeling good in retirement. People wanted to hear from me. And he said, LaRousse comes around the corner screaming, oh, man, big mistake. Supposed to have Reggie Jackson here, not Reggie Sanders. And he's like, man, I was feeling so good. For all the teams he played for, he was 6, 7, 8 years with the Reds. And then he just started bouncing.
Then he bounced around.
Padres, Braves, Giants, Pirates, Cards, Arizona, yes. How many career home runs there? I said over 300. How many over? 305. Stolen bases, 304.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
How about that?
Pretty good. He was a delight.
Martin, they are excited in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat because Eli Drinkwitz is at the podium right now at SEC Media Days. Missouri.
Let's take a listen in.
Missouri finally getting their chance for SEC Media Days. And there
That's
it
not a
is.
tiger.
And Central Arkansas is on notice for a Thursday night in Columbia, Missouri. Oh, my. And then a week from Saturday, Rock Chalk Jayhawk returns to Faroe Field. Hello again, everybody.
Gabe.
Gabe will be up for that one.
And here's his opening line. Eli Drinkwitz, per Brett McMurphy, his dear friend from the Liberty Bowl. He writes, Missouri's Eli Drinkwitz says, quote, I'm not going to answer any questions about the Epstein files. Doug, that's
the first thing he said?
What did I say the other day? He'll have a line. He'll be ready.
And Bill Reloaded says, I could have gone apple picking down in Lewisburg and cider.
Yeah.
Missouri's Eli Drinkwitz says the Tigers have 38 new scholarship players. Quote, we built the roster to compete this season. We valued production more than potential.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Whereas they messed up the fight song for Steve Sarkisian. The Texas head coach came out and they played the Texas A&M fight song.
Oh, no.
Eli Drinkwitz came out and they did play the Missouri fight song.
Good.
And he wrote, and he said to open, well, we got the right fight song.
Okay. All right. Maybe we should have done our show down there at the SEC Media Days.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
Used to be in Hoover.
Yes, I covered him.
Outside of Birmingham.
Yep. That
And
when I
now
was
is it
working
all
Little Rock.
Atlanta now?
Now it's in Atlanta. That's correct. Drinkwitz on playing Kansas this year. This is Brett McMurphy's live Twitter feed. Rivalries are a great thing for college football. This one goes back a long way. It's very deep and something our team is keenly aware of. Fight Tiger.
Okay.
Appreciate Lenny tossing me some money. I'm going to keep the shirt on, but appreciate that.
Martin, that's what happens when the TMA listeners infiltrate Gabe's post-game show.
Someone offered him money to go topless?
Trimming down.
That's correct.
Truman down. Somebody requested more Strauss drops earlier in the show.
Oh, well.
I've been listening for 2 minutes and have no idea where the show is going.
Okay, Joe.
That's some quality radio there, brother.
I do miss Strauss.
He was the greatest.
Gosh, we went to that, well, I guess I was about to say the name of the restaurant. I took him to lunch, and he was, ill at the time. Cleans his plate, and he goes, this meal you bought me, thought the cancer was going to kill me. And I'm like, hey, I go, Joe, I go, you look like you enjoyed every bite of it. Just had to say it.
Apparently, Drinkwitz's press conference is not well attended. That is why he made the remark. Per a gentleman by the name of Anthony Dasher. Doug, you know him from UGAsports.com. He also writes for the following On 3, Rivals, FWAA, USBWA, and NCBWA.
Okay.
Our industry is thriving, and he says, I know there are some burning questions from the 14 of you who are here.
Oh.
Just don't ask me anything about the Epstein files.
So, okay, full context.
Yes.
The 14 of you.
So the Missouri presser lightly attended, as they're not expecting big things from the Tigers. Oh, that's fine. They didn't expect big things in 2007 or 2013 or 2023.
Well, as far as the SEC media attendance, most of the media in Missouri is focused on the pro teams here. Not really this time of year anyway. There's some media there in Columbia, but if you're in Mississippi or Alabama or South Carolina or places like that, their SEC team is it. That's the big thing. It's the biggest sport going, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Mizzou football is not the biggest thing going in Missouri.
But there are a couple of examples where they have professional teams with large followings, and the Georgia Bulldogs are huge in Atlanta, and the Gators are huge throughout the state of Florida, which essentially is like 4 different states when you break it down. But a lot of Florida alums, and then Tennessee with Knoxville and Nashville.
Yeah.
What are they, a couple hours apart? Is that about right? 3 hours?
Yeah.
Right.
At least.
Most of the media in Missouri is real media and not a bunch of fanboys that didn't even go to the school they're drooling over. That's from the 314. Is that what goes on in the SEC?
There's probably some of that,
Martin, we're real media.
Who's big for you guys? You go all the way down there, loaded for bear.
Hey, Tim, don't sleep on those Illini. I had a nice conversation with Kerry Davis on this just yesterday. Ask Pale. He saw it. That's from the recovering alcoholic from Belleville and Webster Groves. You were hanging out with the recovering alcoholic and Kerry Davis?
No. So, recovering alcoholic is a lovely gentleman.
He is a wonderful gentleman.
Really.
Offers me his wife on the regular.
Truly. One of my favorite people.
It's a little nasty with the text.
Yeah, but that's...
Watch it, Pondy.
That's great you mentioned that, because he sent me a screenshot of some of his texts to 101 ESPN, specifically to Kerry Davis in the fast lane. And I rarely get to see the other side of the text line, like people texting into the show, and it looks deranged. Like some of the texts he sends in just in a row. Like if someone were to take his phone and be like, who is this number you're texting, where no one responds to you ever, and you send in the most vile, filthy thing I've ever read. But he said something like, give me an I, Kerry, and then another line, and then Kerry texted back, I. So that's the extent of it. Long-winded
ILL.
I.
I'll tell you this, if you recall, I mean, it's bowl games. I truly had to think about, I'm like, oh yeah, Missouri won 10 games last year. They played a bowl. Who the hell did they play? Iowa, right?
Was it in Nashville or Memphis?
Nashville.
So whatever. But anyway, I do remember the Illinois-South Carolina one, because I was really high on the Gamecocks, but I also recognized they were in a spot, kind of similar, I guess, if you want to draw a parallel, although it would be a stretch, to Florida State being undefeated and then having a bunch of their players leave, and then they got just hammered by Georgia, and everybody goes, see, they didn't belong. And then Illinois beat South Carolina. See, they didn't belong, but South Carolina didn't have a team. And I saw Kerry in the hallway, and I said, man, I wish you would have let me know about that. How'd your Illini beat South Carolina? He goes, they're good, and they're going to be really good next year, too. Now, I realize a lot changes in college football now between January and the start of the season, but keep an eye on ILL. Illinois' chances of winning the college football national championship are actually better in Las Vegas than Missouri's. Fun facts for no and tell.
Well, they can keep sleeping. That's just fine.
Sleeping on ILL or sleeping on MIZ?
Now, that sounded like somebody's a little hurt. Champagne.
That's what I heard, too.
It's getting the spotlight.
Hey, listen, they don't crown the champion in July.
Okay.
So.
Doug, do you like that, the way the pronunciation?
No, why did you say July?
I can't remember. I remember someone saying July, and I really like it. It's the same way. It reminds me of Forrest Gump saying, like, and his name was Cleveland, and he was from Detroit. And I just like that.
Detroit.
Yeah. So I say July.
Some of them say Detroit.
What?
Some of the Canadians.
Never heard.
Detroit?
Detroit.
Ooh.
I hear Detroit.
Detroit. I prefer, that's like the Forrest Gump pronunciation. I like that better.
Some get that extra syllable in there at the end. Detroit.
I knew a guy from Detroit who hated the song "Don't Stop Believin'" because they would say "Born and raised in South." He goes, "There is no South Detroit because it's water."
Yeah.
Because it's water.
It's Canada, right? South Detroit's Canada. Yeah.
But he would get mad saying, "There's no South Detroit," and yet everybody sings it out, especially when you're drunk at the end of a college party. Oh, born and raised.
To that, I think John Denver's Country Roads is more about the western side of Virginia than the actual state, West Virginia.
Ooh.
Based on like the
West,
what he kind of mentions in the topography.
Yeah, West Virginia.
As long as Elia doesn't offer Jackson a scholarship, we might be in good shape. That's from MD 2020. And, of course, Doug, the downfall of the 2025 Missouri basketball season was Dennis Gates appearing on this program and offering Jackson a scholarship.
Yeah. I'm totally positionless when it comes to football.
You could get under center, take a few snaps.
I agree with that.
No
I
shot.
see you as a holder.
No, I want to get kicked in the hand. I won't know. That's a lot of pressure.
They're going to kick the ball, not your hand.
But that's still too much pressure. I am positionless. There's not a lot of positions for slow, skinny guys.
You can take a snap and hand it off.
I could be a system quarterback, I guess, in that, but I can't make a pass.
Fourth string safety, maybe?
Certainly can't make a read. Yeah, I'd be positionless in football.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm trying to.
I can't kick. Like, really cannot kick.
Okay.
Not fast. Slower than I look.
Oh, no. That's not possible.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's a great call.
The Virgin would be a great water boy. That's from L Boy in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Michelob Ultra, proud to sponsor that YouTube chat, and we're grateful for their support. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. Oh, get on outside and enjoy yourself a libation with your compadres. There is nothing better than being on the golf course and having a few Michelob Ultras. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. Michelob Ultra, it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Sponsor the Dotem, sponsor another golf tournament we have coming up here in a few months. And the sponsor of the YouTube chat, it's Michelob Ultra. Grateful to have them on board. Longtime TMA sponsor. Joe Buck, longtime TMA friend of the program, going to be with us coming up at 9:05 on the Callier and Thompson phone lines, and the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming your way at 10:45. There's the Stiefel dossier. This is TMA, presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
Auto Loan Pro, the place to go for your next automobile. No matter what your situation, no matter what your story is, you're not sure what you can afford or what you can get approved for, they will help you out at autoloanpro.com. Financing a car can be difficult. The only thing you need to know is Auto Loan Pro. Great website, autoloanpro.com. You'll see our buddy Robert Thomas on there. And if you scroll down, there's the free playbook. They put that together for you. You can download it for free, and it helps you understand the credit industry, how you get approved for this kind of car, that kind of car. Next time around, get this car. It really is a great educational tool, in addition to being a website where you get your next vehicle. They're going to work with over 50 different lenders, making sure you get the best rate possible, little to no money down. They're trying to help you get into that new vehicle, and it doesn't matter what your situation is. Auto Loan Pro is part of the Lita family. Free playbook, vehicles available. Let them help you out at autoloanpro.com.
Oh, there you go, Martin, for you and Reggie Sanders.
I'm telling you, we came out of a break. Buck Swope probably remembers. And he's like, oh, you guys, because he played everywhere. What a delight. I love this song.
Does Todd Zeal hold the record for most teams, or was it
Mike Morgan?
Mike Morgan, one of those.
Cardinal, former Cub.
I feel like Kenny Lofton was on just a ton of teams.
Take your calls.
And I did a commercial about it, too.
Ended the 2002 season.
Not to be confused with his son, Kenny Lofton Jr., who was...
Baller?
Well, he was a little heavier, and they nicknamed him Snack Randolph.
Oh, Snack Randolph. We've got a recognizable name now at the top of the leaderboard at the Open, Matthew Fitzpatrick, who sometimes goes by Matt. I don't know which one, Doug, but it's Matt Fitzpatrick. Matthew Fitzpatrick won the U.S. Open at the Country Club at Brookline a couple of years ago, won at Hilton Head a couple of years ago. He is now tied at the top of the leaderboard with Haotong Lee and Jakob Skov Olesen. Scotty Scheffler just hit a ball into the shrubbery. Doug is mad they don't cut the grass over there.
Yeah,
Scheffler is at 1 under par, 3 back. Scheffler is on the 14th hole. Matt Fitzpatrick is on the 17th, and he is tied with Olesen and Lee. There is your leaderboard update at the Open. Underway right now. Of course, the weather has been rainy, not as windy as it can be at Royal Portrush off the northern coast of Northern Ireland.
I saw Fitzpatrick just a moment ago chipping from off the green, maybe 10 yards off the green in deep rough, and he dunked it. Ball
That's how
didn't
he
even
got to
bounce.
the top of the
Just went right
leaderboard
into
then.
the cup. Yeah.
Joe Buck's going to join us on the Stiefel dossier. That's coming up at approximately 8:05. Looking forward to talking about a wide variety of topics with him. And one of the things I'd like to hear from Joe Buck on is his opinion on the Superman movie. I don't know if you've heard it. Mike Francesa.
Are we down to 6 clips to go?
You got a super girl cousin who shows up in a cape, and she's stoned. Okay, late in the movie, so they're setting her up for another movie. Look for some girl super movie coming up, you know. And they basically alluded to the fact that she's always getting high. Okay, you got the dog, who, like I said, is one of the big heroes in this movie. This movie is so bad that if you ask me to go sit through it again, I would want major, major cash before I could do it. Okay, it was pure torture. It was 2 hours of pain. It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
There's Superman taking off.
Now we're down to 5 cuts.
Mike Francesa reviewing Superman. He's not high on James Gunn's work. Eli Drinkwitz is at the podium as we speak at SEC Media Days, and he was asked whether or not he favored the 8-game or 9-game conference schedule. That is being debated. The Big Ten yesterday making it clear they are not moving off this position of negotiating with the SEC for the college football playoff expansion if the SEC does not go to 9 conference games. The Big Ten schools currently playing 9. The SEC schools currently playing 8. Eli Drinkwitz's response, I've been for the 9th game. If it's for the players and fans, it's a 9-game SEC season. If it's for coach preservation, hey, I get it. Good for him. Give me the 9-game conference season.
Sure.
That's the best. Get rid of this Central Arkansas UMass crap.
Yeah, that appeals to next to no one. It's all about paying off the program for the lesser school to come in and be a blood donor and
then you go
get a loss
6 wins and go to a bowl that nobody gives a damn about.
Yeah. Well, you think they'll do it? Think the SEC will go to 9?
It's hard for me to imagine the SEC bowing down to anybody, but the Big Ten is kind of in a position here where they're not moving off of this. So, in order for it to expand, they may have to do that. I'd love it. Martin, what's your opinion? Because you don't have the Missouri thing that Doug and I have.
Well, I would rather see big games. And I think if you can get a 9th conference game instead of, but what'll happen is, so right now, what's your ratio of quality? If you're a typical program, let's say Mizzou being a typical program, what's your breakdown of quality when it's non-conference? one good one?
That's correct.
Okay, so 1 out of 4 is a good one?
And then you may have a middling one, middling to lesser, and then you have 2 blood donors. That's
so if you go to
approximately.
9 and 3, 9 conference games, 3 non-con, you're probably still doing what? 1 quality? You're still going to tee up a couple of guaranteed wins. So nothing changes other than you're going to get 1 less bad game.
Right.
Now, some of the really big programs play monster schedules. Love it when they have an opening weekend. LSU, Clemson playing, whatever. But Mizzou typically is going to have 1 tough one in there and 3
2 of them
built-in
being
wins.
really bad, yeah. They'll keep those 2 and get rid of the middling one.
Right. So you're going to end up with 1 good non-con. So you might as well play 9. I agree.
Yeah.
Play the 9.
Greg Sankey yesterday, the SEC commissioner, said that they have been working toward a 9-game league schedule, but he gets pushback from coaches. He said, I think we should be working towards that. My life doesn't end if we don't. There's this absolutist notion that he's going to dictate what's going to happen. I think we should have an adult conversation. We should be able to make a decision. I think 9 conference games in the SEC is what he's saying, would promote great interest throughout the year, but it would be hard to coach. I've had candid conversations with coaches, and I've told them that. It's Greg Sankey yesterday. The SEC has indicated a preference for a 16-team college football playoff model that would include the following: the 5 highest-ranked conference champions and 11 at-large teams, a format that has gained traction, but, and this is the important part here, lacks the support from the Big Ten, which is pushing for automatic qualifiers and play-in games. Multiple sources in the conference, the Big Ten, have said they will not consider the 5+11 format, that's 5 conference champions and 11 at-larges, unless the SEC and ACC move to a 9-game league schedule. The Big Ten and SEC have the bulk of control over the future format, according to a memorandum of understanding signed by the FBS commissioners and Notre Dame AD Pete Bavacqua. Sankey said that while his membership is interested in moving to 16, he hasn't picked a format and has not abandoned the possibility of a 14-team playoff. So there is the update. That was posted by Heather Dinich just last night on ESPN.com after she sat down with Sankey in Atlanta.
Well, I'm on the side of the Big Ten on this one. I think the SEC and the ACC should play 9 games. It's not just about coach preservation. That's not what the sport's about. If you're making $6 or $7 million a year to coach a team and you're afraid to play one more game because you might lose and you'd be in the hot seat, then coach better. Fair is fair. Well, this is what the people want to see, good games. So why should we let a handful of coaches decide what the nation gets to see?
The Big Ten just wants the SEC to have more losses, which gives them a smaller chance to make the playoff. That's from the 636.
Well, that's probably true. But if the Big Ten is going to play 9 games, why should everyone else?
I think what Greg Sankey, I think we played the audio Tuesday.
It was very exciting. He sounded very happy to be at the podium.
But he's essentially saying, like, 8 SEC conference games is equal to 9 Big Ten games. Like, would you rather play 9 Big Ten games or 8 SEC games? Is what he's saying. Like, it's harder to play.
If we played 9, it's going to be
considerably
rougher
harder than playing 9.
9.
Right. Certainly in the ACC, that would be the case. Yeah.
I'm an SEC stan, but I think the 4 automatic qualifiers for the SEC and Big Ten would kill college sports. Just take the top 12 of 16 teams and make strength of schedule matter. That's from Steven Time.
Would kill all of college sports, did he say? Maybe a little drastic.
I do like the 11 at-larges because then you can really have some embrace debate. You know, a lot of people just screaming at each other.
And with the 5 conference champions, you always have a chance. If you win your championship game at the end of the year, you've always got a chance, even if you have, 3 losses or so.
But then it still makes, like, what does that mean for conference championship games?
It means everything for them.
Well, if you're in the conference championship in the Big Ten or SEC, you're likely going to be at least one of the at-large bids. You'd have to think. It'd be kind of crazy for that not to be the case.
Yes.
For those 2 conferences, you would.
Yeah. So for ACC and Big 12, the conference championship might have more value, but SEC and Big 10 still a nothing burger.
Oh, shush, Doug, you Big Ten elitist. That's from the 573. Are you a Big Ten elitist?
No.
Big Ten elitist. Have you ever been called a Big Ten
I was a Big 8 elitist.
Doug, then you're with the SEC, not the Big Ten. That's from Just Don't Press Push. You've been accused of being
both.
Okay.
that would work.
Football needs to separate and leave the other sports alone. It's literally ruining college athletics for every other sport and for actual student athletes who are flying 8 hours to run a 5K against a conference opponent. It's nuts. That is from Arbor Day.
That's interesting.
I do miss the conferences when they made sense geographically.
Yeah, it's a little crazy now.
I mean, it's not. It is nuts now. It's absurd now.
Well, I love UCLA playing Michigan in football. So when the Pac-12 members started jumping to the Big Ten, I just wish it would have remained football only, like kind of broke away, and the Pac-12 exists for basketball and for track and golf and baseball.
Yeah.
The fact they had to obliterate the whole thing, I think that sucks.
A lot of the coaches, mine included, and this is Alan Dadeville, Georgia fan, talking about Kirby Smart, aren't completely opposed to a ninth SEC game, but they're calling out the playoff committee appearing to prioritize wins, even if they come up against butt asses, which de-incentivizes scheduling another SEC team and creates teams just scheduling soft. That's Al in Dadeville.
Yeah, that could be the case where the 3 non-con games are as soft as humanly possible. And you don't have somebody really cool like LSU playing Clemson.
Well, that's where coaches will chicken out. If they go to the 9, then they're 3. You'll know immediately. That was the K-State model for years. They would just load up a terrible non-conference, and then they would hang in there in the conference. That's kind of how, who was our guy that left and came back?
Bill Snyder?
Yeah, Bill Snyder.
That's how he built that program,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was the model there. So you'll know right away which coaches are scared because their non-conference will just be loaded with 3 bad ones.
A lot of teams do that, though, don't they? Missouri does that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that you're just prioritizing wins, then that's exactly what a school like Missouri is doing. Prioritizing wins by scheduling 3 teams they have high probability of beating.
What about UMass?
That's one of the 3.
Power of the foliage.
Yeah, what about that foliage?
I just don't care much about the leaves.
Okay.
Jeez, man.
Puts me on an island, I know, but I'm a controversial host.
Could you imagine the Minutemen hosting a college football playoff game in that,
Pony.
that
High school stadium?
JV football stadium they have?
When most of the leaves would be off the trees by that time.
Yeah,
that'd still be something else.
Came here for the leaves, and there's nothing.
Joe Buck coming up at 9:05 on the program. Looking forward to the conversation. We welcome you to participate in the conversation throughout the course of the program, which is the Air Comfort Service text inbox, 314-399-9646. Then you also have the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat at youtube.com/TMASTL. 188 friends are gathered in there, and they're talking with each other, like Jake and St. Genevieve and Kyle R. And why? Look, there's John Scores talking to the Pope, and Doug's Broken Gong is in there, and they're getting an opportunity to talk to MD 2020 and L-Boy. Yeah, they're all in there, Doug.
Okay.
And I'm getting a spam call from Leeds, England. So it's all happening.
I'd like to see you answer it.
Live on the air?
Yeah.
And you can call in, too. Callier and Thompson phone lines, 314-974-0101. The program's called The Morning After. It's presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update, and that's brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals back in action tomorrow evening as they head out to Phoenix, take on the Arizona Diamondbacks with an 8:40 first pitch as they resume the second half of the season tomorrow evening. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Oh, my. Wow. Why is Jackson doing this to us in the Fisher Window and Door Store 8 o'clock hour?
Birthday or banger?
Just feels like the vibes.
We ever really had a...
This is the end of the road? Show's over? We're not going to get to our 21st birthday?
No. But this is the jam, isn't it?
This is the jam.
Yeah.
Really haven't had a theme in a while, have we?
Well, I played Boy George the other day.
That was nice, yeah.
It wasn't by accident.
Well, I mean, but then it became a thing and a theme.
Yeah, well, we dedicated the show to Boy George.
Joe Bucks is available now. He must have been listening. He must have been listening and knew we had nothing.
What if we had something?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Thank you. It's TMA. It's 101 ESPN. The program is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne. Little Jackie Papers playing Boys to Men. And Doug, you might remember that from 1991's Boomerang.
I don't remember it now.
As Eddie Murphy and Halle Berry had just got done cleaning the dishes, and they began to make out on the couch, and that, of course, was tough because Halle Berry was seeing David Alan Grier at the time, and Eddie Murphy was cucking his good friend. And is he really a good friend if you cuck him?
Even if it's for a movie? Is that okay? Is that an acceptable cuck?
Call in 314-974-0101. I think we're the only show in the market with the balls to talk about it.
Right, I think so.
You can also text in if you don't want your voice attached to the opinion, 314-399-9646. And, of course, the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Blues schedule just announced yesterday. I'm a banty little Roo. I was banty during the commercial break with you boys about the Blackhawks game on October 15th being at 8:30 on a effing, Wednesday or Thursday. Throw in the Blues and Blackhawks. You get 2 home games against the Blackhawks, 8:30 p.m. Piss off, eh?
Oh.
I'm really irritated by this. I get irritated by game times. In Missouri, Alabama, 11 a.m. Plus, I firmly believe there's a strategy behind that as well on the part of the SEC. This is probably a television thing, but 8:30 in October? God bless America.
Well, does your son still think they only play 2 periods?
The 7-year-old might be starting to get hip to it. The 3-year-old doesn't really. We're not in a conversation level yet.
Is that game? Is it a TNT? That Wednesday?
I would gather it is. And Jeremy Rutherford writing, it's not necessarily about seeing former players so much as seeing teams, and one of those is the Winnipeg Jets. Doug, that will take place on the 17th of December.
Okay.
I don't view that as like a vengeance thing. I view it, you never get that back. That's over. They always got you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Titans won the scrimmage of 2000, I believe.
That's what I think of when I think of ridiculous vengeance, that they won the scrimmage 9 months after or 8 months after the Rams beat them.
And then they played them in the preseason in Nashville, and the fans were all fired up, and I remember they were screaming, "We got you!" And I was like, and Isaac Bruce walking up the field was like laughing. Like, we won the Super Bowl, and you just beat us in August. Got it.
Blues open up the season on October 9th against the Minnesota Wild. Then they will immediately head out on the road for 2 in Western Canada, Calgary, for a day game on the 11th and at Vancouver. And then they head home to take on the Blackhawks at 8:30 p.m. That is how the season opens up.
Do you think we could get Douglas in here to read the entire schedule?
I would love that.
And then Winnipeg comes here, and then you try.
Better get his act together.
That
I was
voice
like that
is
very
so
much.
distinct. It could have been on the Muppets.
Okay, down now.
How about that, Doug?
Is there any chance it was somebody doing a bit?
I don't think so. No.
I don't either.
I don't think so either.
I don't
I
either.
think
That makes it even
was
better. I mean, incredible.
I think that was legit through and through.
The talent in this market.
That's a toughie.
There's almost not enough radio to hold it all.
Yeah.
Tim, you want to start a fight club with our 3-year-olds? That's from Mr. Siders, who's usually sideways with Jackson's 7-iron distance. Now he wants to start a fight club. I have a 3-year-old. I guess Mr. Siders has a 3-year-old. And we'll get this together, and we'll just let 3-year-olds fight.
That's one of the most deranged things I've ever heard in my life.
It really is. Really kind of awkward and uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Should I block him?
No, it's fine.
Jackson's played
harmless.
18 holes with the man.
Yeah, he's a fine gentleman. But that text in a vacuum is really weird.
Wow.
Now I know why Joe said I'm ready now. He's probably listening.
Joe Buck is going to join us here coming up in the next segment on the program, so stick around for that. I'd love to have him early, but I forget if I said to people at 9 o'clock, I don't want to like.
Oh, that's right. Then they get ticked off. Yeah, fair point.
That's the thing. So that's why I thought we'll stick to the 9 o'clock thing. So Joe Buck will be joining us. Lots to talk about with him. He hosted Tony La Russa's Celebration of Champions last night at Stiefel Theater. I bet internally he knew that was going to be organized chaos and that he would be put to the test, perhaps more so than calling Super Bowls or World Series, organizing Tony La Russa with players just wandering throughout the theater.
Herding cats.
Yeah, I think it was probably more stressful than Joe needs in the middle of July, but it was great fun.
So looking forward to talking it over with the great Joe Buck, friend of the program, coming up here in the next segment as we go into the Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. 9 o'clock hour. Mark Hanna, a longtime sponsor on this program, just like James Carlton. He's almost been with the program for a decade. I have been a client of his going back to 2019. He is online at carltoninsurance.net. You can call 314-961-4800, and you will be talking to somebody immediately live in St. Louis who is there to help you. The customer service of James Carlton's office is truly what makes it stand out. But then, what does everybody really care about? Saving money. And I don't know how many emails or texts I've received from TMA listeners who make the switch to James Carlton, kind of thought I was just like saying it because it's a commercial, and I understand it. I respect the skepticism. But then you switch, and then he saves you money, and you go, man, you weren't kidding. He's saving me a lot of money. One of the things that they go out of their way to do is be proactive at that office to find ways to save people money. It's good for their business, so that's why they do it. And then it's good for you because you're saving money, so it's good for your business. Go to carltoninsurance.net. It's going to take you a couple minutes. Why not see if you can save thousands of dollars? A couple minutes for $1,000. That's a nice deal. 314-961-4800. Go online at carltoninsurance.net. James Carlton. If your insurance costs a leg and an arm, call James Carlton. State Farm. Joe Buck joining us in the next segment, a matter of moments away here on TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen, 101 ESPN, and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
I think we had people texting us ready for the weekend on like Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, now it's Thursday. You can start thinking about the weekend if you're ready to load up for the grill, the groceries for the weekend. Stop by your neighborhood Schnucks. I guarantee there's one near you. Everything you need is inside that store. You got a friendly staff. I love talking to the butcher, different ideas for the grill. Also saving money on your groceries when you shop at Schnucks. They've done their best to knock down those prices. More than 2,300 items. Jackson called and said, what about that Stoke cold coffee? Yep, done. Taken down, lowered price, and not just for a day or a week. They knocked them down for good. And you'll also have other reminders throughout the store of savings you'll have with those digital shelf tags. I remind everybody to get the Rewards app. Pretty simple. They'll let you know items that you often buy when they're even marked down lower. That's great service. They'll provide you digital coupons. Just get the Rewards app. You can use it for curbside pickup, use it for home delivery. And again, saving money every time you check out, build up your points, getting money back to you right there at the checkout line. The Schnucks Rewards, one of the great items available at your neighborhood-friendly Schnucks.
Is this Joe Buck's theme music?
For today, it is.
Wasn't this Romy?
Jim Rome's theme music.
Oh, is it?
That is a take.
My bad.
A great take.
I did not know.
Did Holiday tell us not to pick on Rome because it was his buddy, and we weren't picking on Rome?
I didn't know they had a rapport.
Yeah, he called. Yeah, he said Holiday said he's on the Rome show a bunch, or has been. I don't know. Who knows?
It's TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen, 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. It is our pleasure to welcome to the presentation friend of the show, willing to join us even earlier. Look, Doug, it's Joe Buck on the Callier and Thompson phone lines here on 101 ESPN. Morning, Joe.
Good morning. That song makes me think of the movie Trainspotting.
I thought you might go train spotting there.
I looked up a tweet that said, now I remember why I bought Train Spotting on Laserdisc. Brilliant. The music is such a huge part of why it's great. That was from Joe Buck in May of 2013. That's why I played it.
What do you think about that kind of production quality right there, Joe?
That's above and beyond. I've forgotten that I had tweeted. Was that a tweet?
That was a tweet. Yep.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that I had tweeted that back in 2013.
You still have that Laserdisc? I'll take it off your hands if you aren't using it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the wave of the future.
Jackson, did you have a guess if you could have one of his appliances? Did you just...
Well, yeah, if he's got some physical media lying around he's not using.
Physical media.
Iggy, in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, Martin just said Joe's coming on his podcast next week.
Wow.
I am.
Are you on the circuit right now?
Wasn't the song by Iggy Pop?
Yes.
Yeah. How about that? Full circle, Doug.
Boy, it sure
Written
has
by
come
David
full
Bowie.
circle. All right.
Jeez. It just lands in your lap.
Are you up more early watching the Open?
No, I'm up early dropping two kids off at two different camps.
Can I ask what the campers are doing? Because I was dropping off and picking up from camps yesterday myself.
Security-wise, I don't feel good about that.
I respect that. Joey Vitale came on. I asked him where he was vacationing for security reasons. He didn't want to share it, but earlier in the interview, he had told us what street he lives on, so we're not really sure what he was thinking through on that one.
Well, I've got one son, Blake, who is all sports, and he's at Bobby McCormick's basketball team
Nice.
right
Outstanding.
now. Dominating as a little left-hander that he is. And then I've got a boy who is playing the Scarecrow in the Wiz at Coca.
Nice.
How about that?
Huh. See, I think Tim wanted to know if you had him at Sportscaster Camp. That's what his dad did.
Yes, he did.
Jimmy, he learned to tease today.
Yeah, no, they get enough of that at home.
I scrolling through your Instagram, whatever that was, a week or two ago, just doom scrolling as I'm one to do. And then I see the thing with you out there with Blake, and all of a sudden, hello, friends. I mean, that was something else. For those not familiar with it, Joe was out with his son playing golf, and he was playing golf with Jim Nance and his son. Oh. And he set up a little Instagram clip, and it wound up. I don't know if that was meant to be public. But eventually, he certainly got public, and it was outstanding.
Yeah, no, it was. I've just gotten to know Jim a little bit over the last few years, and just really appreciate who he is, what he is, how great he is, especially in the world of golf. And I saw him at dinner, and he said, well, I'm going to be playing golf with my son Jameson, J-Mo, on Wednesday. Come on out if you'd like. And out we went. We had a great time. And his kid's awesome. His kid's a really good player. And he made it. Everybody's like, wow, your son's 7, and he was even par through 7. I was like, no, Jim made that up. But my son's never made a par. So, yeah, we had a good time, though. And it's good to get to know those guys a little bit better in kind of away from sports broadcasts, so to speak.
And if you make a putt, does he say, the buck stops here? Does he have Nance calls on every hole?
Yeah, he just keeps saying, just a moment ago. Yeah, he just constantly referring to shots that have been hit earlier and, doing his thing. It just made me realize why I shouldn't have been doing golf when I was doing it for 5 years, that I'm doing the setup, and then he comes in with this, syrupy, beautiful delivery that just sounds like golf. And, he's a good dude.
Do you guys talk shop? Do you talk football and
a little bit. We talked a little bit, but it was more about our kids. It was more about kind of setting them up to succeed. My son's alignment is a little bit off. He's left-handed. He kind of shuts himself off to the golf hole. He needs to open up. He needs to swing around a little bit. So watching Jim help my son with his alignment is something that I'll think about just before I take my last breath.
Holy darn.
Yeah.
Well, he was a great player himself. Vaughn. What's that?
Yeah, he doesn't play much. He was. Played at Houston and, roommates and teammates with Freddie Couples, Paul Marchand, who's been a really great club pro over the years, probably his best friend, who's a friend of mine. So, yeah, I think his best golf days are behind him, which he is very willing to admit, and he's just out there really just to be with his boy, which was cool.
That's awesome. Joe Buck, kind enough to join us here on TMA. He's with us on 101 ESPN. I thought that going into last night's festivities at Stiefel Theater, that this might be one of the more challenging broadcast experiences of your career. Sure, there's Super Bowls. Sure, there's World Series. Sure, as you made reference to, there was some U.S. Open broadcasting as well. But dealing with Tony La Russa's wild world of recollections, comedians, I had a feeling that if it wasn't for you, that thing might have gone until 2 a.m, and it would have been anarchy.
Yeah, it was great. I loved every minute of it. It was so good to see a lot of the guys, and it takes me back to the time when I was the Cardinals announcer too, which was really wonderful, and guys who were close with my dad and guys who my dad really loved as players and as people. So that was great. It's just, it's Tony. So it's like 30 pounds of stuff in a 20-pound bag. And it was a lot of different people on stage, and then people in the crowd. I mean, Brian Jordan was in the crowd. Ray Langford was in the crowd. Alan Bennis was in the crowd. Dave Stewart, longtime Oakland A. Fierce right-hander was in the crowd to honor Walt Jocketty, and Flynn, Daryl Kyle's widow, and their 3 kids and her new husband. It was a lot of people. It was a lot to take in, and you could have done an entire evening with any segment of who he brought back and who wanted to come, and so you felt like you were almost rushing guys off the stage because there were just more people to come, and it was getting late. So it was a long night, but it was a fun night, and it was worth every minute of it, I thought.
The highlight to me still was you sort of reining in Tony. And at one point, he's like, and you clearly have like the booklet, who's next, and you're going to introduce each player with a video. It's like one at a time, calling it. He's wandering around. Yeah, where's Freeze? Where's Freeze at? Where's Sanders?
I mean, it was like he was in his bedroom, just walking around.
He was wandering the stage.
Joe was just wandering in circles around me. I'm like, sit down. You're bugging me. Like every time I just felt his presence like behind me, circling me like a shark. And I was like, hey, we'll figure it out. I got it. I'm supposed to say David Eckstein, and they roll a video, and then David Eckstein comes out. But he kind of jumped the gun a couple of times. But it makes for fun. I mean, Tony is a lot of things, and I know you guys all know him in your own way. I know him in my way, and one thing that he can do is laugh at himself. And when I can give him trouble and say, you look like the ghost of Christmas past wandering around the stage, I feel about it because I know he's going to take it the right way. So it was a lot, but it was really cool. And I will say that the piece about Daryl Kyle and his former teammates talking about him in front of Daryl's widow and their 3 children was beautiful. Rick Ankiel talking about him and how special he was for him and to him, and Matt Morris and Mike Matheny, who pulled the stem out of his Rolex that Kyle had bought him after he was a 20-game winner when he found out that he had passed away. And for those family members to hear these ex-big leaguers talking about the gem of a person and the leader that Daryl was behind the scenes was awesome. And then to see the raw emotion of even Jim Edmonds talking about how wonderful Walt Jocketty was, who passed away this past April, and then thinking, the job that Walt Jocketty did here. I don't know that Walt gets enough credit for how he built this organization for ownership when they held him over from the Anheuser-Busch days leading into 96. His relationship with Tony, I think, was a big reason why Tony came here. And I know we've celebrated both of them many times, but I think even now, looking at where the organization is without those kind of stewards of the franchise, I think we kind of maybe undersold how important Walt Jocketty was to the team and the leadership that he and Tony brought.
Edmund said something interesting about Jocketty. He said with trusted veterans during the offseason, Jocketty would say, hey, we're looking at this guy. What do you think? And Edmonds would say, yeah, I've always said he was a great player, stuck with some crappy teams, or no, he's not a gamer, whatever. Can you imagine that? I don't think Mo is calling up players, hey, should we sign so-and-so? I thought that was an interesting twist that Jocketty leaned on the veterans for intel before maybe pursuing somebody.
It's smart. I mean, I think you have to be willing to say, I don't know everything. And I think a lot of times players have a real good indication because they're on the field with them or they know teammates of a player or whatever it might be, to go, hey, we're thinking about adding this guy. Does he fit with our culture? Hey, would this arm work in our bullpen? And why not talk to the guys that face these guys? Why not talk to guys that are friends with his teammates and see if he's the right kind of person to add? I agree, Martin. I thought that was glad you brought that up because I don't think that happens a lot in today's analytic-driven world where you're just looking at numbers and spreadsheets and going, this guy's spin rate is amazing. Well, he may not have it in, the heart. He may not have it, wanting the ball. I don't know what the analytics were on Derek Jeter at the end of his career, but if the bases were loaded with 2 out and the Yankees were leading by a run, who do you think, A, wanted the ball, and who do you think, B, his teammates wanted the ball hit to? The answer is Jeter.
Yeah.
And he may not have had the range that the other guys had, but he wanted it at the biggest moments. And I think that's the stuff that analytics misses. And I think it goes back to scouts. It goes back to conversations with teammates. It goes beyond numbers to construct a team. And I think that's where a lot of GMs are missing the boat these days.
I did wonder if you were laughing internally, as I was, with each player being introduced, that they'd cue some music, and it's Smoke on the Waters, certainly, and then it's Purple Haze, and I thought, I've never equated, like, Eckstein with Smoke on the Water, and I said, clearly, Tony dropped off his favorite cassette or 8-track, and, man, play these hits, man, as you really get the building going. Like,
David, Jimmy Edmonds walks out, we're going to play Purple Haze.
They did.
Yeah, and it was Purple Haze, it was Smoke on the Water, and then the thing ends, and it's, we built this city.
Yes.
We built this city. And, like, we've been listening to, Freedom Rock the entire time, and now we got Starship or whoever sang that thing.
Yeah, it had kind of like an all-star game feel, which Joe has called many, and it's a lot of moving parts. Who's pinch hitting, now playing second. But then at the end, I think Joe's like, all right, we're just going to have a swing off. We need to end this, okay? But it was well done by you, and I think it wouldn't have been the same without your humor and knowing the Cardinal history. And all of a sudden, hey, wow, there's Skip Schumacher just sitting there. And then you have a wonderfully poignant presentation by a veteran who was there for Blackhawk Down. And they're like, hey, there's Will Clark just taking a seat in the front row to watch it. The randomness actually worked.
It was random, but I agree. And, then you start getting around guys like Will Clark, who was brought in, or Reggie Sanders, who was brought in, and part of that great 2004 team, 2005 team. I think, it makes you remember where this organization was not that long ago, but is obviously nowhere near at the moment. So it was nostalgic, and it was, I thought, at times powerful. It was just kind of heartwarming to see these guys again. To see Matt Morris, I haven't seen Matt Morris, since I was a young guy. And he looks great. He's funny. he told some stories backstage that were just hilarious, stuff that he, I think, wisely did not say on stage. He could have, but stuff he kept to himself or to that small room back there. It was really cool.
And you called David Freese the reluctant hero, which is so true. I think he's almost like embarrassed to be kind of the picture of 2011, and he was. I mean, there's no way around it. Yet but if he gets going, when he starts talking, he's great. His stories are funny.
I was just going to say, he's reluctant, and then he goes, and it's like, whoa, hey, he's got something to say.
Yeah.
And he's got, thoughts on McGuire as a hitting coach and how, Freese was that postseason 2011 one game away from being benched because he was so bad. And McGuire turned him around, and McGuire was the guy who said, Tony, stick with this guy. Same for Alan Craig, and trying to help the young guys. He said the first time he hit with McGuire, he was so nervous. He was worried that he wasn't going to make contact with the ball on the tee because he, grew up here watching McGuire. And then he said 5 minutes later, he knew McGuire was going to be one of the most important coaches he ever had in his career. And it was McGuire who got him right for the rest of that 2011 postseason. And we know, I think he hit 545 in that postseason, somewhere in there, and had 21 RBIs. And, what he did in Game 6, it just stands as one of the greatest game performances in the history of the organization.
Joe Buck, kind enough to join us here on TMA. Joe, I'm going to be a bit of an ass. That, of course, is on brand. Would you mind if we took a break so we could come back and do more? Martin,
I knew this was coming. Oh, I hate it, but I knew it was coming.
I know, but I kind of got to do it. Otherwise, I know we're going to go, and then it's going to cost.
As long as you guys do like 6 live reads during it.
This is but at least.
Hey, I want to tell you about my friends who put the windows in my. Hey, I want to tell you about the guys who suck the water out of my basement. Hey, I want to tell you about my good friends over at. Yeah, if you
a little too close to accurate.
Easy, pal. I still think of you when I want to redo my closet. So easy, okay?
Ooh, that is good. Yeah.
You're right. I am the pot calling the kettle black, but I love that because it's the personal touch.
That's right.
That makes me run to the phone.
Thank you.
There you go.
But this is progress because in the old days, I remember a segment I had with Dan Patrick, and he said, "I'm sorry, do you guys have any breaks to take?"
Joe, kind enough to sit through a break while we do live reads, and he'll be back with us on the other side of it. Joe Buck with us on TMA. This is 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Well, this is for Joe Buck. Let me tell you about my friends at Michael's Flooring online at igotfloored.com. You can go online at igotfloored.com, and right now you can get 3 samples from Proximity Mills, and those are for free. Michael and his family have been operating Michael's Flooring now for over 30 years. It's their business. They are passionate about it, and that's why they have had the success that they have had with 3 St. Louis area locations in Creve Coeur, Darden Prairie, and St. Peter's. You can see why people are loving getting floored by Michael when you visit igotfloored.com. There is a reason that he has continued to grow throughout the last 31 years. Employees love working for him as they feel like family, and he makes sure they are taken care of, and this then rubs off to the families buying the product as they know they have the best interest of the buyers at heart. It's Michael's Flooring online at igotfloored.com. about this Jackson? Yeah, we kept Joe Buck hanging on.
Oh, wow.
I think about a 5-6 minute break, too. Joe Buck with us here on TMA, Marquand Evergreen Wealth Strategies, 9 o'clock hour. The show is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you, and Joe Buck kind enough to sit through the break. What do you think of my Michael's Flooring live read?
I give it a solid B+.
Yeah, thought B+ was right.
That's all you shoot for.
I know
really.
I made you feel self-conscious about it, which was kind of my only...
That's right. You got in my head, and then I blocked one right off the tee.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I was just in Tahoe.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. How'd the Accenture go?
The American Century.
American Century. What the hell am I thinking of?
Yes.
American Century. Joe Pavelski won, and Taylor Twellman, the St. Louisan. Jay Delsing was texting me that he hit, 38 greens in regulation in a row or something like that? What the hell?
Yeah, he's obviously a tremendous player, and, the athletic genes are strong in that family.
Yes.
It was fun. I had a great time, played with. I think it kind of comes down in those events to who they put you with every day, and I went from Chase Utley and Shane Victorino on day one. We had a blast. I beat everybody I played with every day, which is all that I kind of hoped for. And my driver sucked, and I made no putts. My irons are the best irons I've ever hit in my life. But the greens, I tip my cap to those guys, like you said, Pavelski. The way they pile up points on those greens blows my mind, because the greens are so fast, and the hole locations at times are a little wonky where you get defensive and you start.
Yeah.
You're not trying to make a birdie, but you try to avoid the bogey, and that's a bad way to play golf. So I played really well from after the tee to the green, and the outside parts of that were not that good.
Strokes, gunning, putting, not where you wanted them to be. I would imagine that whole weekend has to be one of the best weekends going.
It's really good for me. Michelle came out and met me, and we're hanging around, the Kelsey brothers and Sam Darnold and Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers and guys that we both cover, and you get to sit down and have a drink with them and just talk. And you see them as people. I think more importantly, they see you, as just a guy trying to make a par and have a good time. And I think it helps. It makes our conversations during the regular season a little bit more honest, probably, because I think they can trust you, or at least know they can trust you. And it's great to see Matthew Tkachuk, who's getting married this week, and to see TJ Oshie and his family, and he's retired now and going to move to Minnesota. And it's just good to see a lot of people that I admire athletically and professionally, and see it kind of more relaxed.
We've got a question here in the Air Comfort Service text inbox from Mr. Siders, who's been very critical of Jackson's 7-iron distance. Jackson's a 27-year-old strapping lad. Jackson, what's your stock 7-iron carry at this point?
About $150 as the crow flies.
Okay. Mr. Siders.
Notable groan.
Yeah.
It was like Bud Collins calling tennis.
Mr. Siders wants to know, Bud Collins reset. Mr. Siders wants to know how far you hit your stock 7, Joe.
Well, out in Tahoe, that was kind of my 195, 200-yard club. But
and Jackson just took a shot to the midsection when he heard that.
There's elevation involved. There's elevation. At home, if I...
Yeah, let's say when you're playing Riverside.
Riverside. When I'm playing Riverside... the problem is I'm hitting the pings, and the newer version of the ping iron are really hot. So if I hit a really good 7-iron, it's 185, 90 yards, somewhere in there.
Jackson's smarting over here.
Does that hurt, Jackson? It hurts your feelings?
Doesn't feel good.
No.
Sure, that doesn't feel good.
But my driver is like I've never played, so it's fine. It's all right. And who cares? It doesn't matter. Then hit a 6-iron. What's the difference?
Right.
Joe, Jackson earlier described him, so we're talking about football, and he said, I'm positionless in football. So we're looking at him, and he said he's too slow for this, that. I said maybe he could be a holder. Then I started thinking a lot of us are positionless truly. When you think, I'm like, I could be like the backup left guard or something. But what would Joe Buck's football position? Did you play football?
I did. I broke my neck at St. Louis Country Day High School being hit by Mike Mayweather. To show you how I've changed, I was an offensive and defensive tackle on a state championship team.
Really?
Wow.
How big were you,
fella?
How much you weigh?
Big is a loose word here. I would say more fat. I don't even know what my weight was. It was 200. It was over 200 pounds, which I probably weigh the same now as I did when I was 8. So, my body has changed over time. I used to shop when I was a kid in the 70s in St. Louis. My mom and I would go right to the Husky section.
Oh, the old Husky section, Doug.
Nothing like being shamed walking into that area. It's like, no, these clothes are not for you. Yours are over there.
Yep. Before we had Lane Bryant, we had the Husky section. Very unfortunate.
Well, Joe, be proud of the fact you graduated from the Husky section, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing the best I can.
A two-way tackle, though, that's a lot of time on the field.
Well, my senior year is when I broke my neck leading into the first game, and I was laying on the ground for about 10 seconds, couldn't get up, finally got up. My coaches, as high school football coaches are wont to do, shamed me into going back into practice because the quote was, "You finally make a good hit, now you're hurt." And so I went back in, played the first game with a broken neck, and then on the following Monday went to see somebody's dad on our team that was a doctor, and he's like, "You're not going to believe this, but your neck's broken," and gave me a collar that every 18-year-old wants to wear around high school, and I never wore it, and it healed, and now here I am. So I was very lucky that nothing worse happened from that.
Well, Doug, you always tell people to pull themselves up by the bootstrap. Would you have said that, Doug? You told a kid with a broken neck, "Get back out there, you sissy."
Well, I think if your teammates need you, broken neck or not, you got to limp out there and
that's the rule.
Lead with your
head.
The
most disappointing thing was when I came back from the doctor's office and told our coach, the legendary Ron Holtman, at Country Day, and I thought this was going to be this big moment where he's like, "Oh my God, are you okay? I can't believe you played last week." Blah blah blah, and he just kind of went, "Oh," and then blew the whistle and continued. It was
it wasn't the moving moment you were anticipating.
No, it was not. It was not like like a Lifetime movie. That was it.
Joe Buck, our guest here on TMA 101 ESPN. Let's get your opinion on a couple of local topics here. The Cardinal trade deadline is coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, you're a fan, no question about you being a fan. What would you like to see the organization do as they're kind of flirting with the wild card and decent way back against the Cubs in the Central? What would you like to see them do?
My answer is going to make Doug Vaughn mad.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
If it's not nailed down, and you can trade the person for future assets, trade. This team is not, in my opinion, is in no way, shape, or form built to win. You got to figure out what the goal is. If the goal is to win a World Series, which I think was always the goal. I personally do not see this team equipped or even close to being equipped to winning long 7-game, best of 7-game series in the postseason if you were to get in and if you were to get past the first couple of rounds. So I think it's if you're doing this change and transformation, be honest with yourself and say we're not good enough. And if you can trade veterans or free agents to be that may close games, and you could get somebody for them that could help you in the future, do it. and it's time to go. It's time to rebuild. It's time to be all in on that and not kid yourself or think you're fooling fans by, staying in it. Because, again, what's the goal? Is the goal to win the World Series, or is the goal to have a home playoff game? And if it's the latter, then stay in it. Then don't trade. But if the goal is ultimately what it should be, in my opinion, and it's harder now, it is a lot harder now in Major League Baseball to compete with the Dodgers, to compete with the Phillies, the Braves, the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox. I am not saying it's not, but I think you have to put your eyes on the future, and then you get into the weirdness of the holdover general manager, the guy making the decisions, and then this general manager in waiting, and there seems to be a conflict of interest there as far as I see it.
Doug, I'm just applauding the take. I'm applauding the take.
But that was going to get Doug side because Doug's always in favor of you might as well
play it. Yeah, I don't think anyone looks at the current roster and think, yep, this is a team that has a chance to win a championship. I just don't know who you can trade right now because of contracts and whatnot, who you can trade that's going to bring you players in this direction that's going to get you closer to that.
I'm not saying you're going to get, blue chip prospects but again, from Ryan Helsley to other players on the roster, I don't know what you could get for Arenado at this point. I don't know that narrative has changed much since the offseason, but I would sure try and try to start moving some of these pieces and start figuring out, you need a right-handed hitting outfielder. I know that. Guys that you counted on to take the next step. You have to be able to scout, draft, develop to compete. And the guys that they've scouted, drafted, and developed really haven't panned out. Thankfully there's going to be a change at the top, and they're going to go in a different direction. They say they're going to spend money on the HVAC, which is the minor league system, and put money back into that, which is not going to excite fans. And I don't know how that ever fell apart when you're not fishing in the pond with the big free agents, but it did by their own admission, and it's just not good enough. So, you got to figure it out, and you got to go for it like the Blues do. I think the Blues and what they've done and the creative ways they've made their roster better over the last couple of years, including this past offseason, I think, is a blueprint for how to do it and how to be honest with fans, and they could take a page out of their playbook.
I'm sure they're really concerned about how the attendance has fallen way off, and if you trade away everybody now when you're a game and a half out of the wild card spot, and you're going for younger players, and you might not be a contender, you might not be this close to the playoffs in another 2 or 3 years. That has to be a factor in how they approach things, wouldn't you think?
I don't know that it's going to make that big of a significant difference at this point. I think, again, you got to figure out what's the goal. The goal is to win a World Series, as far as I remember. and if that's not the goal, and I agree with you. If it's about Gates and if it's about keeping people in the ballpark, because you're a game and a half out of the wild card, then I'm not telling them how to run their business, but I think you have to be adult about it and honest with yourselves and go, this is another opportunity to get younger and hopefully get better and scout other teams and other team systems and see what you can get for some of these guys, because the way this team's constructed right now, it's not good enough to win, in my opinion.
I share the opinion, and I would love to see them do it. My fear is that it will be one of those, we'll make a little move here and a little move there, and the path will continue to be unclear, as has been the case for most of the last decade. Joe Buck, kind enough to join us here on TMA 101 ESPN. He's with us on the Collier and Thompson phone lines. You can watch the conversation at youtube.com/TMASTL. You made the comparison with the Blues and the way they have done things. I have been talking about that contrast over the last few years. The Blues always seem to get it right. But over the last week, I don't recall the Blues getting more criticism for anything off the ice than what has been taking place since the announcement of John Kelly not returning as the television voice as the Blues go to a simulcast. There is really intense backlash from a healthy percentage of the Blues fan base. You, of course, know the Kelly family well. Your father and the relationship goes back decades with the Kelly family. What is your thought on that move, Joe?
They deserve the criticism. It makes no sense. But I don't know the inner workings of it. And it has more than zero to do with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. They are phenomenal. And Kerber blows me away with how good he is on radio hockey play-by-play. I cannot imagine doing anything more difficult than radio hockey play-by-play. So set that miles aside. How can you make this move with a trusted voice and somebody who's got the legacy there and somebody who's just been all in and is a comforting person to listen to? It just feels right. That's why, when the Blues won the Cup, and I've said this 1,000 times, so it's boring by now, but I'm friends with Kenny Albert. I have a lot of respect for Doc Emmerich. But when these guys are calling playoff games and it's not my guys, who were John Kelly and Darren Pang, it just doesn't sound the same. And that's the stuff I suffered when I did baseball nationally. And it's like, if you're a Giants fan, you want to hear Kuiper and Kruko. You don't want to hear Buck and McCarver. And I get that. You want the voices telling you about the game that you feel like they're on your side. And you always knew where John stood. You always knew where his heart was. I don't get it. I'm sure there are reasons for it. I haven't read a ton about the reasons for it, but I do not understand it, and it's disappointing.
How about that? There you go.
Well, and I think the timing, too, in the industry, if you're going to do it, you give them as much heads up as you can. And there was some indication, direct indication given to him, hey, we're working on your contract. He's like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, within the last, 6 weeks?
And you're 21 years in, you're like, okay, that's cool. They'll get back to me. We'll dot the I's, cross the T's. And it's amazing to me because, and I've ranted enough about it on radio and TV, and I said, John and I are not even buddies. This is not Martin sticking up for his friend. It's amazing to me that they get so many things right. And then they just talked about the new uniform. Oh, nostalgia, links to the past. You can't have a stronger link to the past than Dan Kelly. And somebody told me that was said in the building, are we sure the guy's dad's name is on the press box? That's a big one. So I'm just surprised because they're usually not tone deaf. And again, it's
exactly that's the thing.
Right. It's their business. And, there's money being, saved probably here or there. There's a lot of stuff that affects them that doesn't affect me at home. And in some sense, all right, it's none of your business. But I would say I was just shocked by it. That's my
that's exactly how I feel. And it feels like you threw a guy out that we all knew where he stood. We knew his dedication to the organization. We knew, what it means to his family. And, I'm Jack Buck's son. So, I mean, I'm the last person who should be talking about any of that stuff. But just forget the Dan Kelly part. It's a hard piece of it to forget. But John Kelly on his own, who he is, what he is, how great he is on the air, what he believes in with the organization, it doesn't have anything to do with Dan Kelly. It's about John Kelly, and that it was shocking to me. When I was at the Tahoe event, I was at a table with Matthew Tkachuk and TJ Oshie that night having dinner, and told them that had happened, and they were both shocked, beyond shocked.
Man.
Yeah, he's as good as it gets in doing TV hockey. I don't think I've ever heard him miss a big play or garble someone's name or a word. He's just fantastically, technologically.
Yeah, and when he says, thank you, it's emotional to him because he cares so much, and he's great at what he does. So, I mean, I can't say it 17 different ways. It's just stunning and disappointing to me I'm sure there's reasons. And you guys have Chris Zimmerman on, somebody I really respect, but I don't. This is one that I just don't understand at all.
And for the record, I did reach out. We offered him the chance to come on because we had Kerber in studio Monday, and slightly awkward because he's the guy replacing John, and I just stated my feelings, and then people say, "Oh, it's not Kerber's fault," and he does carry the title Director of Broadcasting. Kerber does, so that has to be kept in mind. But it wasn't his call. So I did, in fairness, ask Zimmerman to come on, and they said there was really nothing left. He had talked to Jeremy Rutherford. He had talked to Matthew DeFranks. They said, other than those comments, nothing much to add. Kind of what Joe's thinking right now. And what else do you want me to say? I got kids at camp that I need to pick up. When you hear we built this city, that means we're wrapping up, okay? That'll be your cue moving forward.
Good. When is that going to start?
Oh, no. There it is. I was landing the plane right then and there. There landed the plane.
The hoopla.
Yeah. The great Grace Slick, I believe, who I imagine would fall into the category
Was she there last night?
friend of
Right.
Tony.
The shocker
Did you
is
see
that
her backstage.
The shocker is that I told these guys, Ron Wolf, Pro Football Hall of Fame GM, is just in the green room, in the hallway in the back. I'm like, he lives in Jupiter. He's at Stiefel on a Wednesday night. And even at the end, on a serious note, Tony's like, yeah, Sue, Joey, Walt's family. And Joe's like, wait a minute, Jockety's family is sitting here. It was just like...
I had no idea. I would have entered. We're talking about, Walt, and, I had no idea they were in the front row. You can't see up there. And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, my God, there's Sue. And, it was that had to mean a lot to listen to those guys and Tony talk about Walt, just to bring this full circle. And for Joey and Ashley, or he probably goes by Joe now, but I know him as Joey and Ashley, hearing about their dad, he was as good as they come, and funny guy. God, I used to sit with him on the team charters and laugh, and he just was a good man. And again, I do not think gets enough credit for what he helped build. And to back that up, the ownership, which, they're in a transition time, and we just talked about that earlier, they get credit for all that. They get credit for keeping Walt Jocketty after, the change in ownership, because he was brought in by Anheuser-Busch. They get credit for Tony. They get credit for all those people that were brought in, and veterans that were added, and guys in the bullpen to make the team championship caliber. And they have 2 World Series rings to show for it. So they get credit for all that. But, now it's I think, pick a lane and go and get better, because this mediocre, this middle ground is not right.
Yeah, boring as hell, too. Joe Buck with us here on TMA, and I think for many, the comments on the Cardinals, the Blues will stand out. For Jackson Burkett, it will be that Joe's hitting his 7-iron 195 yards, and Jackson will try to put his head on the pillow tonight and know that.
Face first, of course.
Face first, as always. Joe, always enjoy the conversation. Thanks so much. We built this city is now playing.
Why did Jackson dump the... This is Jackson Jackson.
Yeah, did you get away from Action Jackson to tribute to Carl Weathers?
Rebranding.
He's in rebrand right now.
Rebranding, Joe.
You didn't realize how big... Robert Thomas noticed right away. He's like, what happened to Action Jackson?
I'm telling you. Yeah, it's got the city on notice.
I think this is like New Coke.
Is that a Carl Weathers movie?
Oh, and with the delightful Vanity, who I believe was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in that film, but did not win.
Yeah. When I scored like my 12 total points in high school basketball, the announcer would say Action Jackson.
See?
Really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
But why go away from it? That's your
the
thing.
Announcer.
The announcer.
Well, he went to Ladue.
Yeah, a little PA guy.
Was it Skip Irwin on like closed circuit TV?
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, there, fellas. We'll see you.
That's Joe Buck with us. 195 yards. That's eye-opening for me.
Yeah, jeez. Swing easy.
Oh, my goodness. Great conversation. A lot of meat on the bone there. Tell you that. Enjoyed it. I was just planning on doing a little slap and tickle and hitting on some topics, but he didn't hold back. I enjoyed that.
Well, he said it at the event last night. Something about thankful that we had a time. Tony, Edmonds, you guys held ownership accountable and demanded, top talent and winning teams, and kind of an era that a lot of fans are still wanting to return.
when you look back at some of those teams that Walt Jocketty built, and some of the players he brought in, the McGuires and Pujols and Edmonds and Rowland, and we may not see that kind of thing again in a Cardinal organization.
I wonder and fear that. And then also guys that I guess you would consider role players. Because they weren't the stars, in part because there were so many other stars. Role players like Eric Davis, role players like Sean Dunston.
I feel like Grunzalonic was a pretty good add-on.
Placido Polanco, as we were going through his
Clark.
Will Clark. It was something else. It was, it's kind of like the Rams thing in the early 2000s when it was chaos with Martz, but it's like you know that you're going to miss this. You didn't know you'd be missing the franchise, but you knew you were going to miss it. Like we had it so damn good, and all three teams are firing on all cylinders at that time. I'm sure we're late for a break, so I'll make sure that we get to it. Joe Buck with us.
I'll stay on hold.
Oh, there you go. Joe Buck, you want to go back and podcast that? Schaefer Door Company sponsored podcast. This is TMA 101 ESPN. Universal Windows Direct has an opportunity for you to improve the look and the feel of your home this summer. That's right, not just the look and feel, but also save you money. Owning a home is one of the best investments you can make, but keeping it comfortable, energy efficient, and looking great, that takes a little extra work. And if you got drafty old windows, you know exactly what I mean. But this summer, Universal Windows Direct is making it easy to finally tackle that project with an offer you can't pass up. Right now, you get to choose your offer. Pick the one that works best for you. Payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest. Seriously, upgrade your home now and relax until next year. I always say it. I trust Universal Windows Direct because they make it easy. Their team handles everything. The install is fast and professional, and you can feel the difference right away. So if you want to take care of your home the smart way this summer, don't wait. Call 314-334-2522 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free in-home estimate today and choose the payment plan that's right for you. Trust me, once you get those new windows in, you'll walk around saying, I love my windows.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Phoenix Suns have agreed to a contract buyout with Bradley Beal yesterday. Despite boasting a $210 million salary in the past season, the Suns failed to make the play-in tournament, so they have released Bradley Beal with a buyout of his contract. He will now join the Los Angeles Clippers. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
TMA 101 ESPN, Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne, Little Jackie Papers, love that Rascal Puff, and he's in the middle of a rebrand now, Doug. He is no longer going by Action Jackson as Joe Buck.
Well, anyone can call me that. I just won't call myself that.
And why is that, boy?
I don't know. I was getting.
You like being Jackie Papers?
I prefer that name. I was getting shaded by the hockey community at large, specifically Robert Thomas and Keith Kachuk. So I thought probably best to move off that.
Okay.
But maybe I'll bring it back for hockey season for those guys.
Maybe so. Okay.
I think they like giving you shade.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You are Action Jackson.
I am about that action.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. It's 10 o'clock, but Martin is still here. The reaction to what Joe had to say, I take your pick of what the highlight is, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. I share his opinions. If I didn't, I would say it. But I think coming from somebody like him, specifically on the two topics of the Cardinals and whatever the direction is, and I don't really think there is one at the moment, and the Blues in the handling of the John Kelly situation, that carries a hell of a lot more weight than anybody else in town saying it. So tip of the cap to him for saying it.
Yeah, because he easily could have said, I don't know, it's not my thing. I love John, but I'm not involved. I think he was, like many of us, just shocked and thought it was wrong, and I'm glad he said it.
For the purpose of, Martin, you enjoy logistics. The way I wanted to handle it, people, getting some behind the scenes here, I texted Joe while I guess we were going to him to ask if it was cool to ask about the John Kelly thing, because I don't want to get into that because that's an awkward spot, and I respect it. And then I asked you boys during a break because Joe hadn't responded yet. I said, what do you think? And you're like, I would ask, but I would make sure that you ask him in advance, which is what I had done. And then he responded, yeah, he was good to talk about it. So I appreciate that. And that's the thing about that particular topic is, if it were the Cardinals, and I don't want to portray the Cardinals as like the Pirates or something like that, but the Cardinals have had these self-inflicted missteps going back now for a few years. I don't know why, but tone deaf would be the term I would use. Whereas the Blues are the antithesis. They always get it right. They get it right so much so that they do things that you weren't even thinking is a possibility of getting right. For example, the one I always go back to is when they retired Bobby Plager's number, and I believe that was generous executive Mike Caruso. He was involved in that decision to have Barkley's number come down at the same time during that ceremony, but so many different things. And so the tone deafness of the Kelly thing, and I do like this, because I haven't talked about it. I was on vacation when this went down. I feel like the vast majority of the fan base is not holding Chris Kerber, Joey Vitale responsible for it, like taking out their ire on them. They didn't do anything. They got the gig. You can be mad at them, I guess, but your anger would be displaced. So I don't understand it. I don't understand it. For an organization that gets it right so often, the way that it went down, I just don't get. And I have to always say this when I don't know, because I've lived enough of things, whether it be covering teams or with our own show over the last couple of decades, where the whole story isn't out there, but yet nobody can really say the whole story, that I have to allocate some possibility of there being a reason that isn't ever going to get out there. But I don't really know how you can't handle it better. That's my official position on it.
It's been my experience is if you can't understand why something like this happened, it's probably money. And I'm thinking somewhere along the line, somebody decided they got to save some money somewhere.
the piece of that to me doesn't make sense, and we could probably do 2 hours on this because I do love.
Well, people are talking about it.
No, I know, but I'm saying I can't give a short answer on it. But I think,
but I think it's good because you have some insight onto this that I don't know if the public is aware of.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you get into all the logistics of it, but FanDuel, formerly Fox Midwest, always paid the announcers, and then Blues Cardinals, the team paid the radio people. So the radio employees work for the team, got paid by the team. FanDuel, part of the contract, they paid the announcers. So that's why I was like, well, what does the Blues care? And the Blues have talked about, behind closed doors, about a simulcast model for years, several years. And Darren Pank said a few years ago, they won't talk about a simulcast. It's been talked about. So that's not new. But the simulcast idea, to pretty good understanding of mine, is that's the Blues' desire. And FanDuel pays the TV guys. And depending on who you talk to now, FanDuel is like, hey, listen, and they told John Kelly 2 months ago. And now they've had a management change in the last 6 months at FanDuel, so it's been a changing time there, which timing's probably a little awkward, but somebody with FanDuel told John Kelly 2 months ago, hey, we're working on your deal. We know it's up, da-da-da. And then you get a call on vacation on a Zoom, and they say, hey, John, he's, hey, what's going on? Okay, we're going to let you go. He's like, you would be blindsided as well. And it happens, and I've said this repeatedly, but if it's Bob Smith, who moved his whole family from Wyoming 5 years ago to be the Blues, and now it's like, oh, that kind of sucks. This is so different than that. There's just so many other layers to it. With the Blues' love of nostalgia and being kind of the feel-good organization, I just am shocked that they're comfortable doing that to somebody that'd been there 21 years and done a pretty damn good job.
Right.
And nobody's saying, oh, he's the next Dan Kelly. There will never be another Dan Kelly. But that's 40-plus years of one family calling your games. And I think the way they handled it was wrong. Now, is there a proper way to do it? Hey, we really want to go to a simulcast. It's our business. It makes sense. Do you say, hey, after next year, when your deal's up, then you got somebody working there who's probably kind of bitter for a year, so that may be awkward. Or you say, hey, we're going to buy you out. We're paying you for a year, but you've got plenty of time to look. Are there other jobs open? I just don't think 2 months after a season ended, after being led on, and you say, sorry, you're out. I just can't believe that's how you're going to do business.
So this is my opinion on these kinds of situations, which, as you said, do happen. That you got it. Now, it depends also. It's case by case. 9 out of 10 times, if somebody is in this position, they are going to be, I guess, for lack of a better term, sane. But occasionally in our industry, you don't have it. And so you got to be careful with those ones. John Kelly would fall under the category of obviously sane and say, John, this is the situation that we have. This is what we've got going on. We respect you and we respect your family. This is the decision we've got to make. We would like to allow you to orchestrate it how you see fit and have him be a part of the conversation in the way that it is presented to the public. I think it's the right thing to do by the broadcaster, but I also think it benefits the organization in the manner with which it's handled, and so the fan base doesn't have that kind of reaction that they are for an organization that's had damn near 90 to 100% approval rating since it won the Stanley Cup. And I think this, and I take this beyond just John Kelly in our industry. But I understand oftentimes that the deal is, well, we can't risk them saying something or it getting out. So it's not that it's without a downside. It is a really difficult thing to navigate. But again, it's a case-by-case thing with who you're dealing with. And when you're talking about somebody like that, he's not going to go rogue and go on Twitter and do the woe is me thing, and have a campaign orchestrated to try to get his job back. I don't believe anyway. So, that's what I think is, because something, you got to make moves. I understand that. That's the business. But I think what people have an issue with is the way with which it went down.
Yeah, and I don't like the fact, I feel they're hiding behind FanDuel. I think it's largely a Blues decision. That's my understanding.
I share your opinion, and I 100% lockstep on that.
And I think it's okay. Sometimes you make a really tough call, and if this is your call, and you're probably going to get pounded a little bit, but if you really think it's the right move, then you should own it more. That's my opinion. own it more. Instead of FanDuel this. You're the Blues. People saying, well, it's not their call. FanDuel is.
I'm surprised people are even thinking that, as if the Blues would just have to be the cucks at the Davenport to go, yeah, we'll take whoever you throw us, Norby.
Right.
F that. Come on, people are too smart for that BS.
Name a team that would say, oh, wow, really? You're giving us the boom goes the dynamite guy to call our games? Well, I guess we have no say. Well, we're just a team.
Insulting to people's intelligence.
Correct. That to me is nauseating.
Yes, I agree with you.
That to me, and again, I think there's probably a lot of reasons it makes sense moving forward, changing economy, streaming rights, but they have a FanDuel deal for, I think, this year, and then after that, who knows? Mm-hmm. So I don't know why there was the need to do it this year. Again, it's their business, but it's a product that's driven by fan reaction, fan, energy, and on this one, I think it's largely been thumbs down. I mean, I don't know what the number would be, but it's hugely.
They had to know that they were going to face some backlash with this. And it's hard to imagine how this makes a broadcast better. How does it make it any better that the guy who's going to make a radio call is now doing the TV call as well? I can see how it saves them a lot of money. I can't see how it makes it better. That's why I think there's got to be some sort of monetary reason behind it.
And so, again, logistics. So now, if the Blues pay the radio guys and FanDuel pays the TV guys, and if you shift the simulcast, well, it's a TV broadcast, then I guess you don't pay the radio guys anymore. So you could save money in that sense. But again, it's a franchise valued at $1 billion. Now, is it worth $1 billion? Probably because somebody would pay it. Somebody would buy it. Do their books reflect $1 billion business? Probably not. Do they, make payroll and pay all their bills? Sure. Are they swimming in money down there? Probably not. And with the cap going up, money's going to be tighter. But you're still $1 billion franchise. You stay at the Ritz. In the big picture, this 1 year salary, whatever, is small potatoes.
Yeah, it's a weird, but that's a real thing, because obviously one of the talking points on this topic is the money element of it. And I mean, that's the game. It's a game in any business. I realize there are feelings attached to this, but when you're talking about the dollars, you're talking about, it isn't, from my standpoint, I wouldn't think it's all that significant. I guess it's real easy. I've been using this phrase going back to the film The Girl Next Door. Is the juice worth the squeeze? And it's not even remotely close to it. So that's why I just keep going, there must be something we don't know. I don't know. And in a way, I feel bad. The thing that I keep going back to, though, because candidly, I'll just be real blunt about it, we experienced it. I mean, that's the truth. And people are mad at us. Well, we didn't do anything. They wanted us here. I don't know. Sorry, show's been on for 21 years. It's been successful. I don't really have to apologize for that. You might not like it, but the track record's there at this point. But we didn't do it, and we're catching a bunch of hell from people. Okay, fine. Well, good that people aren't giving crap to Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. They might prefer John Kelly, but hey, they're not like mad at Chris Kerber, mad at Joey Vitale, and I'm glad for that. And just for the purpose of just being real transparent, that was our life experience 9 months ago.
And I said that out of the gate on Friday. Hey, people are going to say, hey, well, you hopped on Carricker's show. You're a hypocrite. I'm like,
as if we went and said to Hubbard, put us on here. I mean, hey, that's what they wanted.
And I would say all of these
nitwitting around on HD2. Martin was on KTRS. We were doing just fine.
And I would say all of this to Chris Zimmerman or Steve Chapman, who's one of the executives down there, to Tom Stillman. I had a long phone call with Chris Kerber after he was in here in the studio and talked about it. But I have no problem. And you could still like or respect Chris Zimmerman and say, wow, you got this one wrong. And I have no problem doing that. And he could say to me, it's none of your business. I'd say, fair enough. But I think you got it wrong.
I know we have to break, and so therefore we shall do so. We welcome your thoughts on the topic, 314-399-9646. It's TMA, presented by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN. Dents Express is a St. Louis business, 33 years of doing it in the St. Louis area. Gray, Wilson, and Dents Express, family owned and operated right here in St. Louis since 1992. Gray Wilson and his team are the go-to experts for paintless dent removal, whether it's hail damage, door dings, or those annoying shopping cart dings. What I love is these guys aren't just good, they're experienced. Their techs have been with them for over 20 years. That means you can trust the people working on your vehicle. They offer free evaluations, no appointment necessary, and they'll even handle everything with your insurance. That's right, you drop it off, they take it from there. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and located right here in West County. You can call them at 636-227-5050. That's 636-227-5050, or just swing by and let Gray know that you heard about them on TMA. That's Dents Express, St. Louis's leader in hail damage repair. Welcome back to the Morning After, 101 ESPN. Had a great conversation with Joe Buck in our 9 o'clock hour. The 9 o'clock hour on TMA is presented to you by Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. 2 segments worth. A lot there. That is one that I would say probably will make its way around social media, would be my guess. I have no idea. But go back and podcast. It's one of those interviews that you'll want to make sure you listen to, and you can do so on the Schaefer Door Company podcast. Doug, you know something about Schaefer Door? I think you do.
Oh, I've got good friends at Schaefer Door.
Yeah, you do. Jason Gostrow.
Yeah, and you'll make good friends with him, too, if you have any kind of garage door problem. Or it may not be Jason. He'll send one of his other crew out there. They're all very top-notch technicians. I had a problem, maybe almost a year ago now, and I thought I needed a whole new garage door. Nope, just needed a strut, and they took care of me, and they will take care of you, too. If that garage door doesn't go up and go down like you need it to, they've got that special Monday morning standby service for doors that break over the weekend. Schaefer is spelled S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R. Their website is schaeferdoor.com. Best to call or text them at, I'm going to say the number now, so write it down, 636-782-3608. I feel like you didn't get the pen in time.
Yeah, they might not have.
636-782-3608. You call or text that number, they will get right back to you. They're big enough to get any kind of job done, but small enough that you talk with an actual person when you give them a call. The business has multiple family members that have been working there for many years. Great family business. They also service those giant commercial doors. If you run a business or have a warehouse with big, tall doors, Schaefer is experienced in those types of jobs as well. Also, their service techs, not commission-based. Again, it's schaeferdoor.com. Call or text them at 636-782-3608. Schaefer Door is a LiftMaster partner.
The program's called The Morning After. It airs on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Chairman Kurt sliding into the dais in the 10 o'clock hour. Little Jackie Papers is on the ones and twos, and we welcome to the Collier and Thompson phone lines Randall Lane, the co-founder of the National Thoroughbred League with Bob Doherty, and launched in 2023, and Randall joins us now. Randall, good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Tell us about what is going on here with the NTL Nelly Cup on July 19th.
That's this Saturday, and we're inviting all of St. Louis to come as our guests and Nelly's guests. And Nelly brought, as you probably read in all the papers and the Post-Dispatch and across the country, that Nelly brought. We have a team horse racing league. We're in our 3rd year, and Nelly took a big stake in the Seattle franchise and moved them to St. Louis. And the St. Louis Nellies will be running for the first time against the 9 other teams in the NTL this Saturday, and we've invited everybody in St. Louis to celebrate this and come for free. Nelly's hosting. We got Jeroby White from Tribe Called Quest performing, food and fashion shows, and lots of fun stuff. And it's a great thing for family or buddies to come out, friend groups, whatever it is. But it's free, no tickets necessary. Just come, and from 4 to 8 p.m., the whole city of St. Louis, whole region is invited to Fairmount Park.
Nice. How can people get tickets?
That's why you get tickets to just come. We're going to make it just, ticketless to make it really easy for folks. Now,
How about that, Doug? Just showing up.
How about that?
We like free.
How about that?
Yeah,
free.
Free is good.
It's free.
As we said in college, if it's free, it's for me.
There you go.
How do you gamble on that when it's team horse racing? How would you bet on that?
You still every race, and we have 3 NTL races, and there'll be 8 races across the day. You could bet like you regularly do, but because each horse is running for a team, we make it more simple. You could just bet on Nelly's team, and you'll see which horses are running for the Nellies. And we're trying to simplify betting, make it more like regular sports betting, and so that way, again, it's horse racing can be very thoroughbred racing. You look at the daily racing form; it looks very intimidating and confusing. We're trying to make it a lot easier, a lot more fun. We have a VIP. If people want to come, there's a VIP room with food and drinks, and people can get tickets online at ntl.racing. But we got something for everyone. You can bet on it easy. You can come and enjoy yourself. You can come for free. You can pay $99 and have a buffet and drinks and hang out with all the fancy people. Dealer's choice.
Yeah, how about that, Doug?
Yeah, they've rehabbed.
Doug, you coming?
Well, I may. I know they've redone a lot of that track. I was out there a month or so ago, and it's really looking great. Some of the changes that they made.
They're a great part. We love being in St. Louis. Fairmount Park are great partners. They're putting $100 million into this track, so people who haven't seen it in a while should come out. It's going to be, the weather forecast looks good. We have an antique carriage that we're doing rides. We have a kids race where kids are going to get to go on the track and ride bouncy horses on the actual track. We've got a fashion show that anybody can enter, and who looks the most like Nelly. It's going to be fun as heck. So, Doug, you're coming. You don't have a choice now.
Okay, I'll see you there, I guess. Sounds like a fun day.
It is taking place this Saturday.
4 to 8. It's nice. It'll stay evening. We got sunset. The sun will be setting. It'll be nice and a little cooler. It'll be beautiful.
NTL Nelly Cup, July 19th at Fairmount. Randall, thank you so much for joining us and letting the audience know about it again. It's free, so you can enjoy it.
It's free. And Doug will be there, too.
And Doug will be there now.
I won't sign. I won't be signing.
Yeah, he can't sign.
All right.
Thank you, Randall.
Thanks, guys.
It's Randall Lane with us here, giving us the background on what is taking place at the NTL Nelly Cup on July 19th. You can email in the morning after at InsideSTL.com for our design, air, heating, and cooling email. That comes your way at about 10:45, 10:50. This is TMA 101 ESPN. I don't know what's going on right now.
Felt like a Shania kind of 10 o'clock hour.
You know, randomly, a couple days ago, my son and I having some wings. This place, by the way, I got to say this. I know the chances of people actually going to it, but I want to make sure, because I talk about the brass ring in Jupiter if you're down there at spring training, the wings. You boys had those, right?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I had the
Doug had
grilled
the
chicken.
Yeah, like the Chipotle bowl.
We were in Hilton Head, I don't know, for whatever I was gone, 10, 11 days. And in Sea Pines, which is where Harbor Town is, I just got done messing around, putting, whatever, hitting balls with my 7-year-old, and went in and said, all right, we'll get something to do. I follow the Patty Harrington thing. Always when you go with your kid, make it fun. Don't sit there and work on alignment and grip like you know anyway. And so make sure you go in and have something, you know, like soda or whatever that you can enjoy and associate it with being fun and not, you know, some great Santini type of crap.
Great reference.
Thank you. So anyway, we're in there, and I'm like, you want anything to eat? He goes, let's get some wings. I go, okay. I'm thinking to myself, these won't be any good. This is Fraser's Tavern.
Fraser's Tavern.
Plantation Club, Sea Pines, Hilton Head Island. Doug, I'm telling you, Jackson, the only thing I compare him to is the Dirty Wings at O.B. Clark's. Just easily on the Mount Rushmore of my favorite wings.
What made these wings so special?
They were dry rub. You got to get the dry rub.
Dry rub.
And I every time, and we must have, in the 11 days we were there, I think I had them 6 days. And every time I would say it, whether it be to my father or my wife or my sons, I'd say, I don't know what the seasonings are in this. I got to find out what it is. My wife goes, oh, yeah, because then you'd be able to duplicate it. You know, easy there, sister. I'd do my damnedest. Yes, so that's my recommendation, Doug. Fraser's dry rub wings.
It's kind of out of the way if it's in South Carolina, though.
But if you want to go down and you got a nonstop to Savannah,
okay,
and then drive about an hour and get those wings, and then you'll be back in time for tomorrow's show.
Yeah, just leave from here.
I'm not going to do that, fellas.
Thank you, Jackson. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Eli Drinkwitz spoke this morning at SEC Media Days. I said to Chairman Kurt, who was kind enough to pull the audio, I said, anything that he say of note outside of bringing up the Epstein files
and JFK.
And he said, yeah, he wants to expand the playoff format to 30 teams. And I had to say, I wish Martin was here to get his opinion on this, because he has, I guess he treats Eli Drinkwitz with, Doug, I'm going to describe this, a raised eyebrow. I said to Chairman Kurt, I said, was he being serious? And Chairman, your assessment is?
I did not pick up a facetious or playful tone. I think he was serious. And
that's what we're going to listen to. It, Doug. Here you go.
I'd love to. Yeah, hit the lever pail.
And now, last year we complained about the committee selections. I mean, we produced all kinds of stats and handed them out about why the SEC was so good. Well, the problem is we have a human committee that has no standard set of structure of how they're going to select. They're all human beings. They all have implicit bias. Until we figure out what exactly the standards are, I don't think that's good. In my viewpoint of it, I think we should go back and try to find more ways to include teams. How do we get more people involved? Because that's better for the players. That's better for the player experience to have more people involved in the potential to play for a championship. And it's better for the fan bases. I think we all would agree that the 4 college football playoff games at home campuses was a huge win for college football. We need to expand that opportunity, that energy and excitement. So my math could be wrong here, but if we did the 12, okay, and you had 4 automatic qualifiers, everybody thinks that's limiting. It's not limiting if you think about it from, you take those 4 automatic qualifiers and you divide that up into 8 opportunities of 8 play-in games. So now you're taking the SEC's playing in for 8, you're taking the Big Ten's playing in for 8. Since we've expanded the bubble to 16, give 3 to the 3 to the Big 12, 3 to the ACC, 1. Now you've got 30 teams. 30 teams. Now we're talking about an opportunity for 30 teams, 30 fan bases to be excited and engaged in giving revenue. Got 30 teams with players who have access to compete for a championship.
It's getting to be a lot of teams. How many games are you going to play?
The part that I did not include was he it would be proportionate to the percentage of NFL teams that make the playoffs based on the league size. And
I guess I used to worry about things like we can't play that many games. The kids have to get to school, but I don't think anybody goes to school anymore.
The quickest way to make me fall out of love with college football would be if there are 30 teams going into the playoffs, because there's a direct correlation with what I think I bitch about every hour on this show, which is baseball's postseason format, expanding and diluting the importance of the regular season. The reason why people such as myself will be locked into Clemson and LSU, a game that I think is in August. Roll Tide is playing somebody of note early on. They always do. Notre Dame's playing Miami. I'm sure I'm missing some of these other big games. Georgia's played Clemson.
Bama plays Florida State on August 30th.
Okay. It's because it matters.
Yeah.
And I love that. God, I can't get enough of that. What bothers me with baseball is diluting the importance of the regular season, a 162-game marathon. It's a 162-game marathon. That's different than a 12-game marathon. You expand it to 30 teams. I just feel like, okay, did they get into the tournament? I have no idea. And honestly, and this isn't Chairman Kurt's fault, I couldn't follow what the hell he was talking about. I agreed with the front end. I agreed with the front end of what he said, and then I got lost in the second half. I'll go back and read it probably on Power Mizzou this afternoon and try to follow what he was talking about.
Right, but you want these games, like how awesome the atmosphere is on a Saturday when like Alabama and Tennessee are playing, and you know that this game has so much at stake.
It's
because
the greatest.
You know,
and I don't give a damn.
Right,
I personally don't care.
Right.
You know, I can't wait to watch it.
Right, and you can't like just manufacture that energy. It's not going to be there unless the stakes are high. And if there's 30 teams making the playoffs, then it's like, oh, well, we can afford to lose this massive game. And that then takes away the energy that I think like makes college football special. You know, college sports are special because of the energy, not because of the play on the field, but the energy in the crowd.
My read wasn't off. He was being serious there, right?
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. It was being. I just didn't follow it, and I'm not saying it to say what he's saying is
like when he started laying out the numbers.
Right,
and
I didn't
whatnot.
follow that part. That's what I'm saying. But the 30. I mean, what in the hell? I agree with Tim as always. I will be at this show for Texas Ohio State week 1. How did I forget that one? Texas Ohio State. That's from Steven time.
They probably could have fixed most of the problems if they just stuck with an 8-team playoff that we suggested here and other people did as well, where you have the Power 4 conference champions. Used to be 5, now there's 4, and then 4 at large. So the conference championship games have meaning. You have, well, these teams have qualified. We know they're in. They won their championship. And then you take the 4 best teams beyond that, and you have 8, and you could probably have made that work.
Do you think if Mizzou was a perennial contender, he would be singing that same tune? Or is that the coach that is more often than not a little bit on the outside looking in?
I would actually say, and this is, you have to have been listening to the program all morning, but Brett McMurphy tweeted out what Drinkwitz said earlier in the day, and he was for 9 SEC conference games, which would not match up with that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If anything, you would think he'd be for 8 because then he can have another blood donor on there. So to his credit, he's for 9. So I don't think that that's necessarily where it's coming from. I also think, and maybe I'm off on this, you know, with the coaches wanting to keep their job thing. Yeah, I'm sure that in part is the case, but you also get to a point, these guys are now make so much money. And don't get me wrong, when you were making $2 million, that's a lot of money. But now they're making 4 and 5 times that. They're going to be fine, and the contract, they just get paid. Jimbo Fisher, I think, is going to be making like tens of millions of dollars probably after he's gone with the buyout that he gets. The contracts are so favorable to the coaches. I don't know how much that's there. I think 20 years ago, with what Martin was citing earlier in the show, the Bill Snyder method of scheduling a bunch of randos at K-State that then Missouri and plenty of other programs duplicated to get into bowls to build a program. I think that's kind of gone by the wayside, but you do have those 2 or 3 blood donors every year. I agree with what he's talking about with having those home games. That's outstanding. I'd just be I'd want to look into it. The idea of 30 teams being in the playoffs, just, you know.
When would you have to start it on the calendar to get that in?
Logistically, sounds like a nightmare.
I don't. I don't follow it. Yet you guys are content with the hockey playoff structure in regards to teams. That's from the 618. I know I wasn't doing a program in the 1980s, although my dad was trying to get me one in the 1980s.
Sure, you deserved one.
I kind of thought so. I kind of thought so. So I'm glad you're saying it, not me. But I've been saying since the 1980s that the hockey regular season is close to worthless as it gets. It's just the difference was the Stanley Cup playoffs were the greatest, and still are, the greatest thing ever. That also was a time, Doug, this predates Jackson, but we can recall the Norris Division. What would they do? 5 teams in the Norris Division: the Blues, the Leafs, the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, and the North Stars. 4 of the 5 would get in, and then they would play a round robin against each other.
Well, there was a long time when 16 of the 21 teams got in the
Correct.
playoffs.
So the hockey regular season, I mean, you can be entertained by it, but it's got absolutely no value relative to winning the Stanley Cup back in the day. They have changed it since. Baseball, you win your league, you go to the World Series. Then it became you win your division and you go to the LCS. And then it just got watered down. And hey, yeah, more teams are involved. But I was reading a column this morning in The Athletic with regard to the trade deadline. This was written as they are doing their trade deadline tiers. And the math is the following. 16 teams, more than half the league, own at least a 20% chance of making the postseason. This time last year, eventual playoff teams had odds of 43.9% Mets, 39.5% Padres, and 7.6% Tigers. Remember, the Tigers made their run. The Twins were at 82.7%. Sorry to remind you, Minnesota, that's because Minnesota had their collapse. So the point being, you've expanded the playoff format, but now, more than half the league has a 1 in 5% chance, or 1 in 5 chance of getting into the playoffs. I'm sure we got a break. Got the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming up to TMA 101 ESPN.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals back in action tomorrow evening as they will take on the Arizona Diamondbacks to resume the second half of the baseball season. That game in Phoenix will be an 8:40 first pitch. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
TMA 101 ESPN. My name's Tim McKernan, and I'm ranked number 1, Doug.
Are you?
Thank you. My father sends out a ranking of
I knew that.
hosts.
Just of men.
Yeah, he ranks men. Douglas Elvin Vaughn, Chairman Kurt slides into the dais for the 10 o'clock hour. Martin has onboarding and little Jackie Papers, who loved that rascal Puff. We have the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming up here. And then BK and Ferrario will take over. There is your Stiefel dossier here on 101 and ESPN and the Fast Lane from 2 to 6 p.m. So many people talk about how good looking I am, and they're right, but one of the reasons is my teeth. And you can sit there and go, man, can I look like you? Can I get that short? Can I have a skull that looks like something from some kind of, Appalachian.
Yeah, like a crushed honeydew melon.
Appalachian family.
Oh, yeah.
Like inbreeding you're talking about?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in the middle of a live read.
Oh, sorry.
Make good season.
It is make good season. Yeah, well, you can go to 100 West Dental and see Dr. Brandon Pryor and get my teeth. That's what you need. 100westdental.com, 100westdental.com. Located on Manchester in Baldwin. That's Dr. Brandon Pryor. They have a great deal going right now on Invisalign. You mentioned my name. You get $1,000 off if you're not sure you want to go through with Invisalign. They have the technology there to show you what it would look like if you do decide to do it. Listen, I understand most people don't want to go to the dentist. I don't think anybody goes, oh, good, I got a dentist appointment coming up tomorrow. I understand that. But it's like going to see your doctor for a physical, a checkup. That's that important, but people don't necessarily associate the two. But poor dental health can impact the rest of your medical health. Don't let that happen. Just get checked up with a dentist in a dentist's office that has the newest technology. It's Dr. Brandon Pryor and his team at 100 West Dental, online at 100westdental.com. Time for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day. Our standings here as we sit on July 17th, 2025 for the month of July. We got a tie, and it's Dalton and Shooter McGavin, each with 2 wins so far. But the Joey Vitale Lemming, Salty Bald Dad, Buck Swope, Alan Dadeville, Phil from the 618, and Paul Harvey Milk Mustache all have 1 win. What's up, boys? Just here to say I love when Doug tries to sing along to songs and is so horribly off. He sounds like a 3rd grader trying to sing and eat at the same time. I'm sure the visual is just as good, too. And then there's a little smiley emoji in there. I don't know if you like that one.
Okay.
Also, since I destroyed Pestis, unless I missed it, we haven't heard from him since. Can we get a welfare check? Thanks again, boys. Great show. That's from Average Size Shabongas.
Average Size Shabongas.
Now, Pestis has definitely been on hold. We just haven't gone to him. So I think he's doing fine. I don't know, Chairman, you talked to him.
I haven't heard from him.
Oh, really? I thought you texted me yesterday he was on hold.
It all kind of just runs together.
On Monday, I feel. Yeah. Be fine.
I realize most of the emails are typically fun-filled slap-assery, but I wanted to take one email here and say what a great interview with Joe Buck today. While the entire focus of the show each day is not simply sports, you guys always manage to have top-notch guests ask fantastic questions with the aim to address the relevant issues. This week alone, Chris Kerber, Tony La Russa, Joe Buck, among others, really enjoyed it. To us who pay attention to the show religiously, things like that are a huge part of the reason why. Wow, that was like a kind and sincere email.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to ask you out or something.
There has to be something else.
No, that's
Kick
it.
to the groin in there somewhere.
No, it's just Jake and St. Genevieve.
Jake in St. Genevieve.
How about that?
Very kind. Thank you, Jake.
I don't know. When that happens, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, it still feels weird.
Yeah. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the
there's
next
another
email
paragraph
to be
coming.
Yeah. Tim's been back for 2 days, and by golly, the world is a better place because of it. Ooh, you didn't catch. Oh, the gong's really falling.
It's on its last leg.
It was like, good gracious, khakis, bodacious, flirtatious, trying to show faces, because I feel like busting loose and I feel like touching you. And can't nobody stop the juice. So, guys, tell me what's the use. It's getting hot in here. So hot, so Doug, take off your clothes. I am getting hot. I want to take Doug's clothes off. That's from Senator Cuckabee.
Senator Cuckabee. He's new. It's more like the emails that we're used to, however.
All right, now we're back in our comfort zone.
Okay.
Yesterday's show left me pondering. Now that I've looked at my room... hold on, Doug. Yesterday's show left me pondering, period.
Okay.
Now that I've looked at my room, I have room for the stool and the chair, comma.
Teach grammar at Murray State.
Clearly not.
It will be an interesting year, comma, but I decided that they needed names.
Period anywhere?
There it is. Right there.
Okay. Yeah.
The stool easy ...
Okay, that's enough.
It's just starting to get good.
He's going to name it Doug's Lap. So anytime I or anyone else decides to take a seat on it, I can tell them they are getting the pleasure of sitting on Doug's lap. Still working on the name for the chair, comma. I'm open to suggestions, period. Small shout out to Iggy, though, comma. When we put a post out to ask for couches, he let us know that I could take some bookshelves, then offered a Dillian Harper ... toy.
Why the dot?
Thanks, Iggs. That was a public post that all my friends and family saw. Now I have to explain to Grandma what that is. But hit me up. I'm still interested in it. That's from the Coital Hype Man, Little Beer Cats.
Little Beer Cats.
School can't start up quick enough.
Murray State. And finally, sure, you know him as the son of Hall of Fame broadcaster Jack Buck and the owner of a velvety voice that has been the soundtrack to 24 World Series, 6 Super Bowls, 22 MLB All-Star games, and 5 U.S. Opens. 15 million homes invite he and partner Troy Aikman into their homes each and every Monday night of the NFL season for Monday Night Football. When you hear the dulcet tones of Joe Buck's voice, the game, it simply feels bigger. With a resume like this, you may be saying to yourself, what hasn't this man done? Well, resting on his laurels is not what has made Joe Buck the voice of a generation, and that's why when an ex-waiter / radio producer / player of free golf with a podcast guest list that includes the mom from Seventh Heaven, a guy who knows a guy who saw Rory Gallagher's guitar once, and something called Samantha Fish calls you from his pay-as-you-go Aldi smartphone and asks you to come on his, quote, podcast that has upwards of 17 subscribers and last uploaded something to its YouTube feed 8 months ago. You put your well-deserved summer vacation on hold, and you drop everything to hop on Zoom to talk Merkins with a guy whose laptop is sitting on a stack of old Playboys in a half-bedroom, half-bath apartment on the hill. When Jeannie of Pepper and Jeannie calls, you answer. Look out, John Cena, there's a new sheriff in town, and he's granting wishes for the underprivileged, unmotivated, and uncut, and his name is Joseph Francis Buck. And that is the rest of the story. Doug, that comes from Paul Harvey, Milk Mustache.
Paul Harvey, Milk Mustache.
That's what we have for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling.
Well, I like Jake in St. Genevieve with his kind sentiments towards us, but it's hard not to vote for Paul Harvey, Milk Mustache, so I will.
It was easy today, Milk Mustache.
For sure, Milk Mustache.
Congratulations to Paul Harvey, Milk Mustache. You have won the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, and now you are tied with Dalton and Shooter McGavin. BK and Ferrario are up next. Time for us to shut it down. For Jackson Burkett, for Chairman Kurt, for Martin Kilcoyne, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Elvin Vaughn, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been TMA, presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.